around the world.
To participate in the general public comment period, please call now at 818-238-3335. For any scheduled public hearings, please call when prompted to speak if you want the comment to be part of the record. Speaking times will be determined by the total number of public comment cards and callers in the queue at the start of each public comment period. For 1 to 20 total speakers, each speaker will receive up to 3 minutes. For 21 to 39 total speakers, each speaker will receive up to 2 minutes. And for 40 plus total speakers, each speaker will receive up to 1 minute. No additional comment cards or calls will be accepted once the public comment period begins.
Interpreters are available for assistance with in-person public comment. Please connect with them if you are in need of services. Hay servicios de interpretación disponibles para asistir con los comentarios públicos en persona. Por favor, habla con un intérprete si necesita estos servicios.
Եթե տեղում մեկնաբանություն եք անում թարգմանիչի կարիք ունեք, միացեք թարգմանչի հետ օգնության համար։
Good evening and welcome to a joint meeting of the Burbank City Council with the Housing Authority on Tuesday, June 16th, 2026. Before we begin, I would like to note that Vice Mayor Mullins is dealing with a temporary medical situation and will be absent from tonight's meeting. We wish her a speedy recovery. Please join me for a moment of reflection. This moment is intended to begin our meeting with the positive and collective support for our beloved community. The City Council welcomes everyone joining us this evening. We encourage you to take a moment to reflect on our community and the work we will be doing tonight. Although each of us has our own unique reasons for being here, we are united in our passion for our wonderful city. As we pause, let us consider our individual contributions and what they mean to those around us. Let us find solace in knowing that by working together with a shared spirit of community and partnership, we will always act responsibly for the betterment of Burbank. Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, Ms. Ty. Good to see you.
Hello, Mayor.
Please conduct the roll call.
Councilmember Anthony.
Present.
Councilmember Perez.
Here.
Councilmember Rosati.
I am here.
Noting the absence of Vice Mayor Mullins and Mayor Takahashi.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. There will be 5 periods of public comment tonight. Members of the public may comment in person or by phone during the general public comment period and must submit cards or call before the general public comment period begins. The first public comment period is for joint general public comment on any matter concerning city business and/or any agenda item. If you are here in person and wish to speak during general public comment, please submit a yellow public comment card to address the council up here at the city clerk's. If you'd like to participate in the general public comment over the phone, please call now at 818-238-3335. Callers will be placed in a queue until the general public comment period begins, at which time no additional calls will be taken. If you would like to participate in public comment for the public hearings over the phone, Please call anytime between now and the beginning of each public hearing at 818-238-3335. Callers will be placed in a queue until the public comment period begins for each public hearing, at which time no additional calls will be taken. Additional public comment periods will be available in person following each report to council this evening. Interpreters are also available for assistance with public comment. We have both Spanish and Armenian interpreters here with us this evening, sitting in the front row. Please connect with them if you are in need of services, and feel free to walk right over and chat with them if you'd like some assistance. Tonight, we are adjourning in memory of Doug Remington, longtime resident and Rotarian who passed away at 75 years old, but whose memory lives on in the community. Doug was born in 1950 and raised in New York. After serving in the U.S. Army and attending college in Florida, Doug made the Burbank Hills his home in 1981. Doug's heart for community service permeated his personal and professional life. He eventually became the chief financial officer of the Burbank-based printing company Westland Graphics. As former Burbank City Mayor Michael Hastings said, Doug was an anchor sponsor for the Burbank Run for the Hungry for 10 years. He would design the posters and print dozens of them at no cost to the event. This event raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for so many charities and nonprofit entities in Burbank. Doug was an integral partner to the event's success. Doug became a member of the Knights of Columbus, the Burbank Rotary Club, where he served as treasurer, and a member of the Elks Burbank Lodge number 1497. One of his favorite events was serving as a bike angel for the Salvation Army. Doug would repair and refurbish bikes so everyone had access to his favorite pastime, cycling. Doug spent a portion of his weekly rides on the Chandler Bike Path and continually advocated for the inclusion of bike lanes in Burbank. In the years before his death, Doug could be found volunteering for the Greater Los Angeles Homeless Count, attending his favorite Burbank Police Foundation event, Take the Scoop Out of Crime, and volunteering at the U.S. Open. In between events, Doug enjoyed driving his Corvette to community car shows and was an avid supporter of local dining. Each week, Doug could be found enjoying his favorite sub at Santoro's, a giant cinnamon roll at Talleyrand, or a pasta dish at Isabella's Italian Kitchen. Above all else, Doug's greatest accomplishment was his enduring love and respect for his daughter Kelly, his grandchildren Harrison and Juliet, and his partner Cindy. Doug's memory will be kept alive across the Burbank community by his family, friends, and all those he reached with his generous spirit. On behalf of the City Council, I would like to express my condolences to Doug's family and friends. His legacy will live on in Burbank for years to come. And I know we have Doug's family here with us this evening, and I'd like to welcome you to the podium for a group photo. All right, moving on to announcements. We have 4 announcements this evening.
Lions and boards and houses and elections, oh my! What do all these entities have in common, you may ask? Somehow or another, they're coming your way in this week's following announcements. Let's handle the lion first to put you at ease. If you've walked through town recently, you may have noticed it seems some animals, including a lion, broke out of the LA Zoo, hopped on the 5 freeway, and have decided to stay in the AMC walkway here in downtown Burbank. Please know these colorful animals are our most honored guests. Visit Burbank is excited to show the Richard Orlinski Outdoor Art Exhibition in downtown Burbank. The event will run from May 12th to August 31st and features 7 animal-themed monumental sculptures by Richard Orlinski. Visitors can walk through bold, larger-than-life works placed throughout the AMC walkway in downtown Burbank. This event is free and open to the public. More information can be found at visitburbank.com/Richard Orlinski 2026 or by scanning the QR code on the screen. Moving on to boards, there is still time to apply for the Senior Citizen Board. Burbank City Clerk's office is accepting applications for one vacancy on the Senior Citizen Board for an unexpired term ending July 31st, 2028. The deadline to submit an application is Monday, June 22nd at 5 p.m. If interested, please apply online at burbankca.gov/BCC application. As a reminder, any person appointed to fill a vacancy shall hold office for the remainder of the unexpired term. Persons appointed to serve unexpired terms must complete the term before applying to serve on another board, commission, or committee. For more information, please contact the Burbank City Clerk's office at telephone number 818-238-5851 or email cityclerks@burbankca.gov. If you're a Burbank landlord or tenant, you are invited to attend a free virtual housing rights workshop on Tuesday, June 23rd from 5:30 to 7 p.m. The workshop will provide an overview of federal and state fair housing laws, including disability accommodations and modifications, Section 8, and the California Tenant Protection Act under AB 1482. Burbank's Tenant Protection Ordinance will also be covered. The workshop will be conducted via Zoom and will include Spanish and Armenian interpretation services. Receive the meeting link by registering at housingrightscenter.org/workshops. Let's talk elections. The November 3rd, 2026 City of Burbank General Municipal Election nomination period will open at 8 a.m. on Monday, July 13th, 2026, and will close on Friday, August 7th, 2026 at 5 p.m. The nomination period will seek candidates to fill the following: 3 offices for member of the City Council, 1 office of the City Clerk, and 1 office of the City Treasurer. These offices all seek candidates to fill full 4-year terms ending on December 16, 2030. Grab your pen and paper because there are a few requirements. A candidate for elective offices of the city needs to be a United States citizen, at least 18 years of age, a resident of the City of Burbank for at least 29 days prior to filing nomination papers, and a registered voter in the City of Burbank at the time of nomination. Qualifying individuals may contact the Burbank City Clerk's office at telephone number 818-238-5851, Monday through Friday between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Please note, if an incumbent does not file by the deadline, the nomination period will be extended until Wednesday, August 12th, 2026 at 5 p.m. for candidates other than an incumbent for that seat only. And get ready to travel all around town, because the Burbank bus now accepts debit and credit card payments. In addition to cash and tap cards, riders can now conveniently pay with Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover, as well as Apple Pay and Google Pay. Riders can pay for themselves and for up to 4 additional riders in their group with a single transaction. To learn more, visit burbankca.gov/burbankbus. There you have it, another batch of announcements to get you out on the town. Back to you, Madam Mayor.
I'm just loving this announcement style. It's great. I just love it. Tonight we have one presentation. This evening is the presentation of a proclamation declaring June 1st to June 30th, 2026 as Pride Month in the City of Burbank. Please join me in welcoming Tracy Tabb from Burbank Pride and anyone else from Burbank Pride who might be here to the podium. You brought a bunch of people. I love it. Okay, let me just say, because of things that happened, I texted her yesterday. She's like, I'll bring some people with me. She brought them all. That's awesome. Okay, scoot on over. Yes, let's go over. And you can have some folks stay on this side too if you want to. Okay, I have this to read. Would you like to say a few words first before I read the proclamation?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll just be quick. I just had math work done, so if I slur, I apologize. Thank you. Oh. Thank you, Mayor. Oh my gosh, you're so incredible. The council members and the city staff, on behalf of Burbank Pride, we thank you for the proclamation recognizing Pride Month. The honor reflects Burbank's commitment to inclusion, acceptance, and belonging. We are so grateful to the city of Burbank for recognizing Burbank Pride and our continued support of the community, the families, businesses, and organizations. We are just trying to make this community stronger. We also would like to invite everybody. Sunday, September 27th, will be Burbank's Family Pride in the Park from 12 to 5 at McCambridge. And we are so very honored, and I'm so happy that all these lovely ladies came with me today. And thank you again so much for this.
Yes, of course. Yay. All right, I'm going to read this to you, and then we'll take a picture. Okay, so proclamation LGBTQIA plus Pride Month, whereas the Pride Month began in June of 1970 in New York City on the one-year anniversary of the Stonewall Uprising, in which lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, asexual, and intersex individuals and their allies rose up and fought against harassment and discriminatory laws that have since been declared unconstitutional. And whereas LGBTQIA individuals have had an immeasurable impact on the cultural, civic, and economic success of our country, state, and city, and continue to make great and lasting contributions to strengthen the fabric of our society. And whereas this nation was founded on the principle that every individual has dignity, worth, and equal rights, and the City of Burbank is committed to supporting visibility and equality for LGBTQIA individuals in our community. And whereas the City of Burbank prides itself on its close-knit neighborhoods and community-oriented ethic and wants all residents to feel welcome and safe, especially LGBTQIA youth, families, and seniors who should be able to learn, live, thrive without fear of harassment and discrimination. Whereas while society at large increasingly supports LGBTQIA equality, continued education and awareness remains vital to end discrimination and prejudice, and I would also say embracing. Yes. Whereas celebrating Pride Month promotes awareness and provides support and advocacy for our community and serves an opportunity to take action and engage in dialogue to strengthen alliances, build acceptance, and advance equal rights. Now, therefore, I, Tamala Takahashi, Mayor of the City of Burbank, do hereby proclaim June 1st through 30th, 2026 as Pride Month and urge residents to recognize the lasting contributions of our LGBTQIA family, friends, colleagues, and neighbors who help make Burbank a vibrant community in which to live, grow, and thrive. That was our only presentation tonight. So, Mr. City Manager, do we have any City Manager's report?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we do have one item with the World Cup underway and the U.S. off to a good start. I'd like to call up our Economic Development Manager, Mary Hamzoyan, to briefly talk about our upcoming FIFA fan zone in downtown Burbank.
Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, Patrick Prescott, Community Development Director. Mary was just going through the screening, so I'm just covering for her for a second.
Wow, just in the nick of time. Hi, good evening, Mayor, the Vice Mayor, and the rest of the City Council members. Mary Hamzoyan with the Community Development Department. I have a quick presentation to share with you tonight on our updates for the FIFA fan zone. Okay, so next slide, please. Oh, actually, I can do that. So a little FIFA trivia. FIFA has officially started, if you haven't heard. It's going to last 39 days from June 11th to July 19th. It is the longest World Cup in history. 104 matches across 48 teams, hosted jointly by the US, Canada, and Mexico. 8 of those matches will be here in LA. 10 official fan zones in Los Angeles. So Venice, Downey, Pomona, Farmers Market, and Union Station, but the best is going to be in downtown Burbank, and that's going to happen July 18th and 19th. So here's just a brief example of some of the marketing that we've been doing to promote this event. There's a lot of digital advertising. If you've driven around the city, you've seen some of our bus shelter ads everywhere promoting the event. These have been happening for a couple of months, but really, really pushing through on digital and social media as we're getting closer to the event. If you haven't noticed, also we have some beautiful, colorful banners all in our downtown, again, promoting the fan zone event. We also have the marketing promotion that you'll see all the way on the right side of the screen. Those are ads that we've placed throughout the city. There's postcards that are passed out to all of the businesses in downtown. We have pull-up banners that are in our hotels promoting the event, and we've also printed large-size posters and placed them within our vacant storefronts in our downtown area. So again, just promoting the event. Community outreach is another big factor, so we want to let the community know, especially those that are working, living, and playing in downtown, what's going to happen. So what are some street closures going to look like, what parking will be available, and just notifying the community of everything that's happening with the fan zone. So that'll be coming up every week. We'll post that on social media, through constant contact through the PIO's newsletter, as well as Visit Burbank and Downtown's newsletter. And then we have something for everyone in our fan zone. So we're unique. So we stand out from the rest of the other 9 fan zones. If you like soccer, that's amazing. You can come and watch the fan zone and experience the soccer with a bunch of the community and friends. But if you like a culinary experience, we have that for you as well. So we have a chef VIP experience with Jeffrey Zakarian, both days, July 18th and 19th. Free food and alcohol is included in your ticket. So take a look at that. And then post-game on Saturday, we have a great concert with Loud Luxury, which is an amazing DJ that will be present on July 18th. And then we have BB Rexa, who just released a new record with David Guetta. So she's super popular pop star. That will be performing on the close of the finale on July 19th post-game. So fan zone ticketing, here's kind of a layout of what the fan zone will look like. Tickets range anywhere from $30 to $200, as I mentioned, the VIP experience. Kids 5 and under are free in the watch party areas and the passport lounges. And then we've dedicated 50 free tickets to those in our Burbank Pass program to make sure that the families within our community can also enjoy coming to this experience. That concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Wonderful update. Thank you so much. How exciting. Council, any questions or comments? Yeah, Councilmember Rosati?
Just a comment. I mean, everywhere you go, there's a soccer game on. So the soccer fever is happening. I'm glad that we're going to ride that wave right into the fan zone. And I've been seeing the marketing. It's excellent. It's very clear and concise. And I think as we get closer to the date, we're going to see a lot of excitement in our town. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilmember.
Just one question, and I got this question from the community. Have we used AI to create any of our videos and our marketing and anything?
Yeah, we've used a little bit of AI just because we don't have anything to show. It's the first time we're doing a fan zone. So a lot of the images that you see are from previous events, like in the street fair portion of it. But we've never had a concert like that to showcase with large crowds and soccer themed. So there are some things that we're using on social media that not all of it's AI, but portions of it that we've put in snippets of it.
So the only feedback or comment I would have is I think it's wonderful that we're promoting this. I've seen a lot of the marketing go out, and I know there are concerns from some of our community about the AI piece. And personally, I would love to see local artists used and local artists invited to participate and to, share in all this, since we have a wealth of animators and talent here. That's just one thing I wanted to share. That was like my one only critique. The other side, I love the video of staff that is live. That's a wonderful video. If you haven't seen it, you all are amazing at social media. Staff pass the FIFA World Cup ball to each other across the city. It's a really cool video, and more of that content is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. We're also working on promoting a lot of the restaurants that are showcasing the matches leading up to the finale and promoting them. So there's a lot of that happening as well. And I wish we could hire a bunch of different local folks. We were just on such a time crunch to get the content out there because it's happening in less than a month. So we'll definitely take that note. Thank you.
Yes, Councilmember Anthony.
I would just say, don't knock the classics like Photoshop. I mean, you can still do. I'm adamant that it is still comparable. So
yeah, if you need a crowd, you could put the 5 of our faces over and over and over again. Picture a big crowd. You're probably right.
Make us do silly things. We're all game.
Yeah. So yeah, fabulous job on getting the word out and excitement. Just a reminder, where can folks go if they would like to get tickets or to show up on that day?
fanzone.dtnbur.com.
Great. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Okay, our next item is a presentation from the Burbank Glendale Pasadena Regional Housing Trust. Joining us tonight is Trust Manager Dima Galkin. Welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Takahashi and members of the council. My name is Dima Galkin. I'm the Trust Manager for the Burbank Glendale Pasadena Regional Housing Trust, and as you mentioned, I'm here to present an update on the activities of the trust. May I have the presentation, please? Thank you. Just wait for it to start. There we go. There we go. So here's our org chart. I'm also the the Director of Community Development and Housing at Harrison Associates, and our company serves on a contract basis as the trust manager. We've served in that role since May 2024, and we have great staff support from each member city, jurisdiction, Burbank, Glendale, and Pasadena, that has helped us identify projects for funding and to secure additional funds for the trust. And from our initial state funding allocation of $23 million, $6.9 million is allocated to each member city. These initial allocations have grown through interest accruals because we've kept the funds in a LAIF account, and so we actually have more than $6.9 million available for both Burbank and Glendale, as you see in the table here. The table shows the balance of funds available to each jurisdiction from the initial state funding allocation. We want to make it easy for our member cities to access these funds while balancing our responsibility as stewards of the funds. And so accordingly, our process involves a relatively short form for city staff to complete that gives us the necessary project information we need to evaluate a proposed project. We do require that respective city councils approve their project's funding application to the trust to ensure jurisdictional support for the projects. And we work with city staff to present the project information to our board quickly. Once we have city council approval, we can issue funding within about 3 to 6 months with timing contingent on the project's readiness to proceed with funding agreement documentation execution. And the funding policy approved by our board maintains the funding allocations through January 1, 2029, after which the remaining balance of funds will be reviewed by the trust board and may be reallocated to projects in any of the member cities. Just want to highlight a few projects that we've committed funding to so far. East Walnut is a mixed income ownership housing project. Last time we checked in on that, it was on track to receive a temporary certificate of occupancy by the end of May, with closings in June. Centennial is a conversion from a single room occupancy to senior housing. Renovation of the units was completed earlier this year, and the project is in the process of completing repairs and improvement of various systems. And the STAR is in an early stage of funding commitment. As you may also be aware, the Homelessness Solution Center, with that project, the city rescinded the funding request, and so those funds are no longer committed to that project, but will be available for another Burbank project instead. There we go. We've had strong success in securing additional funding through grants. First, there's the Local Housing Trust Fund, or LHTF. This is a one-to-one matching grant program, prioritizing new construction of lower income rental housing. And through commitments from the City of Glendale and through Burbank's developer partners, we were able to secure a $5 million award, $1 million of that award is committed to projects in the City of Burbank, along with almost $1 million in matching funds as well. And the Burbank projects are close to being ready for loan agreement execution. We're working closely with the developers who are providing their matching funds. And the Glendale project is in an earlier stage and could still evolve. Another funding source that we've secured is Cal Home. This is almost $4 million for the trust, which we've allocated evenly between the 3 member cities. So this program will provide 18 mortgage assistance loans of about $200,000 each for first-time home buyers, as I said, allocated evenly between the 3 cities. We've set up much of the administrative structure for this program, most importantly the program guidelines, and we're on track to complete program setup and to start marketing the program in the 3rd quarter of this year, and then to begin accepting applications in the 4th quarter. And as the program administrator, we will prepare materials to promote this program closer to when it's ready to start receiving applications, and we'll coordinate with the member cities to help get the word out to encourage applications. Finally, in terms of funding, we've been fortunate to be included as an eligible jurisdiction under the Measure A program. And specifically, we represent the cities of Burbank and Pasadena because Glendale is a separate eligible jurisdiction, being one of the largest cities in LA County. In total, we're projected to receive about $6.5 million annually for the trust, which we're allocating between the two member cities that we represent under Measure A. And we're using the same metrics in that allocation that determine our total allocation, or our total funding. This table here shows the projected funding amount by category. Within the city of Burbank, that funding is allocated about $1.9 million for production, preservation, and ownership, about $1 million for renter protection and homelessness prevention, and about $160,000 for technical assistance. Again, we're coordinating closely with staff to allocate the funds, including for staffing to help run the program and to get that funding in use as quickly as we can. And as I mentioned, portions of these amounts are allocated for program administration to allow for structuring, managing, and monitoring the projects and programs for which these funds will be used. Because we're taking a very collaborative approach with the member cities, the trust's budget generally allocates 2.5% for trust program administration and about 10% for the city's program administration. Overall, what we're seeing with Measure A, as you may be aware, 60% is allocated to the county for comprehensive homeless services, their local solutions fund, and homelessness solutions innovations. And about 36% is allocated to La Casa. That's the new regional agency representing all of the county. About 30% of that amount is spent by La Casa itself, and they've used those funds to issue notices of funding availability and requests for proposals for different programs, including for production, preservation, and ownership, emergency rental and flexible financial assistance, and a community land trust and naturally occurring affordable housing program. And out of the other 70%, that's allocated to local agencies, and so that's where our funding comes from, as shown in the table here. And the allocations by different category have a formula that determines how they're allocated. And again, this is an estimate, so actual revenues will be based on actual sales tax revenues for the county. We've also been active in advocacy efforts on behalf of the trust. I'm happy to share that I sit on Congresswoman Laura Friedman's Housing and Land Use Advisory Committee, and that involvement has allowed us to stay in the know when federal funding opportunities arise. And these opportunities have short windows, so staying in the know is really helpful to evaluate whether we want to pursue that funding. We've also coordinated with County Supervisor Barger's office, discussing discretionary funding opportunities, and Supervisor Barger has expressed support for the Housing Trust. And also, we're closely communicating and coordinating with other regional housing trusts throughout LA County, including on advocacy efforts such as allocating LHTF funding in the proposed housing bond bill. That concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Great, thank you for the presentation. Do we have any questions or comments, thoughts? I have one quick, you have one? Okay, one quick question. Thank you for spelling out kind of where the different funding parts come from. Mm-hmm. For the Measure A funding allocation, what is an estimate of when we'll find out how that will be distributed?
So in terms of the funding distributed to the eligible jurisdictions, mm-hmm. we've seen we are able to request funds on a more or less quarterly basis from La Casa, and we found that the actual revenues so far in the first year are pretty in line with the projections. So in terms of how much, we have a good sense of, at least for this first year, what the amounts are, and that's on an ongoing basis. As sales tax revenues come in, then we find out how much is available for that quarter.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, you had a comment that you wanted to share?
I just want to thank Dima for doing great work, being our trust manager. It's really moved leaps and bounds. And I know I saw some of your faces and looking at the 7,000 sitting there for Burbank. I am really confident in staff that I know we had to step back from the Homeless Solution Center in the format that it was at, but we are coming back with something bigger and better. And I know staff is working diligently on that. This is all due to changes in the way funding went. We can have a whole dialogue about that from Measure H to Measure A, If you want to talk about that one-on-one, always happy to. But I do want the public to know that we're already ready to go. We're going to have another ask, and staff has projects in the works.
Great.
We look forward to working with the city on that.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. City Attorney, will you please report on closed session?
Yes, Madam Mayor, council members, for the benefit of the public, City Council convened a closed session meeting at 5:30 this evening to discuss one item of existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1 in the case of Maureen Bazanian versus City of Burbank, which was a civil rights case. The City Council took no reportable action this evening.
Thank you. All right, now is the time for joint general public comment. I will be calling out the speaker's name as well as the person who is next in line to speak. In order to keep public comment moving in a timely fashion, we have a designated seat in the front row for speakers who are up next at the podium. A timer is available on the podium as well. This is also the last call for anyone who needs an interpreter, or those staff will be released for the evening. Persons may choose to use the first period of public comment to address an agendized report, but will not be able to speak on that item following this segment. When you give your public comment, please state your name for the record. Have our interpreters received any requests for assistance? No? Okay, well, thank you for being here this evening, and have a great rest of your evening. The joint general public comment period is now beginning, and no additional cards or calls will be accepted. Ms. Tai, how many public comment cards do we have for joint general public comment, and how many callers do we have?
We have 13 cards and 4 callers for a total of 17.
You get 3 minutes tonight, y'all. 3 minutes. Okay. So first up, we have Ron Bax, followed by Jim Lane. Welcome.
Good evening, Council. Ron Bax. The deliberation of the matter at the last council meeting for possible censure of council member Anthony was a farce, or at best, a charade, presented by the center to the right-hand side of the dais. Any normal person, reasonable person, would have concluded censure was in order. Mayor, after you got your pinky promise that he wouldn't do it again, then he goes on to news you should know within a week. I forgot to mention that he also went to that groundbreaking for the city of Glendale, the metro, where he shouldn't even been in the dignitary line. In this particular case, he said, "Thank you, Supervisor Karen Barger and Metro Board member Era Nahardian for directly representing Burbank on this economical, beneficial transit project." Even though the city attorney had warned him twice before the two incidents that you were being sued by the Metro and that you shouldn't have your deliberations to public. Now, when you go out in public, even though you're a council member, you have the right to your First Amendment right, but everybody knows you're a council member. So you need to balance that. I mean, really stay on the white side of black and white, way on the white side. You keep talking about helping out housing providers, okay? Because you're giving all sorts of stuff to renters. Let's talk about irresponsible tenants. This has happened within the last month or two. I had a tenant call me and say her kitchen sink was dripping. And she said, "Oh, by the way, my bathtub has been dripping for a while." I think her description was accurate. I'll leave you up to deciding whether that's lime buildup. And it damaged the wall. Or you go to another one because the toilet is continually running and they can't describe whether there's water in the tank or not. Okay. But then I've been told that my husband was down in the basement and water was coming down like a waterfall. And he's been meaning to call you, but he's been very busy. Also, the sweep on a shower was torn. So what they did, rather than call me, they put a rug in front of the shower. And it was there long enough, by the time I got to it, the underlayment of the flooring has been damaged to where they're replacing it tomorrow at a cost of $1,360. And I only have 24 seconds left, but my wife My father-in-law passed away March 12th. My wife, as trustee, is selling his rental property. Why? Because she has seen the continual relentless attacks, and I could go with more adjectives, on housing providers, and she says enough is enough. Now, if my mother had passed away, 4 seconds, so I won't go to that part. Thank you very much. Good evening.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Jim Lane, followed by Noreen Kahitrian. Welcome.
A month ago, Mr. Rosati praised the Burbank Association of Realtors for not discriminating against Moms for Liberty. He stated that the BAOR upheld the tenets of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which, according to Mr. Rosati, protected the categories of, quote, race, color, gender, religion, or political affiliation, end quote. The actual protections that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 created were for the categories of, quote, race, color, religion, sex, not gender. And I hope Mr. Rosati knows the difference between sex and gender, or national origin, end quote. So I need to point out that Mr. Rosati really butchered that, and the original act does not mention gender or political affiliation. This is exactly why the LGBTQ community has felt abandoned by the United States, and subsequently, since Stonewall in 1969, we just heard about, have been fighting like hell for their own civil rights. Flash forward to 2 weeks ago, Mr. Rosati and Ms. Mullins wanted to argue for censoring Mr. Anthony. No legitimate evidence was presented other than a pattern of behavior theory. This was supposed to be an examination of what happened around the Moms for Liberty protest. Rosati and Mullins presented very little actual evidence to support a censure for Anthony. They quickly started referring to things in the past and all those constituents who were emailing them about Anthony. If this was a court of law, and it isn't, Mullins and Rosati would have been laughed out. The police chief stood up and said he felt no pressure from Mr. Anthony to force the BAOR to cancel the event. Anthony had nothing to do with the alleged assault, as was proven in the edited video. Mr. Rosati said that Mr. Anthony organized the demonstration and therefore is responsible for what happened. We very quickly learned that Mr. Anthony did not organize this. Get your facts straight if you're going to start accusing people, right? This demonstration, but he did not organize the demonstration, but he participated in it just as I would have, but I was pretty sick that night. Moreover, Ms. Mullins said with a lot of assurance that the same people who were at the demonstration were the same people who were calling the BAOR and being rude and threatening. If Ms. Mullins was here, I'd ask her, how does Ms. Mullins actually know this? How does she know the identities of the people who called are the same identities of the people who were demonstrating? This is pure speculation, absolutely speculation. And this was a colossal waste of time and another attempt to go after a proponent of tenants' rights. Mullins and Rosati had no case whatsoever. I almost feel like asking for that time back, but it's all lost now. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Noreen Kachetrian, followed by Mark Scroggs. Welcome.
Nice
I hope
try.
I pronounced
Thank
your name
you.
okay.
I know it's hard to pronounce. So it's Khachatrian. Yeah, I'm Noreen Khachatrian. Good evening, dear council members. Good evening, dear Burbank residents. So I am here, I have two concerns, okay? First of all, I want to speak up about one issue that constantly, it's been years, bothers us. It's Cabrini Villas, okay? So recently I posted my listing in city of Burbank, just trying to promote my listing. And our dear council member said that I am misleading the clients, the buyers be aware, it's not Burbank, it's LA. Before getting to the details, Mr. Constantine Anthony, it's very, very unfortunate for us because when we put it up, it shows in the records it's Burbank 91504 zip code. And I'm here because you on social media promised me to take care of that matter, and I'm here to just understand, did you do anything about that? You promised to work on it. So here is our conversation on Facebook. I can just read that right now. So you said Cabrini sellers are notorious for advertising it as Burbank, but it's actually Los Angeles. Buyer beware. Okay, we are not misleading anyone. this is how it is. So are you going to do something? Do you have that on your agenda to somehow cut it off and show that it's LA, it's not Burbank? Can you do something like a real job? This is like a real issue, and it bothers us a lot, okay? That's my first thing. And by the way, in the same chain of the comments, you told me, Noreen Khachaturian, I'm working on it. That's why I want to know, have you started working on it? Do you have any kind of steps that you have taken? I just want to know, as someone who represents a lot of buyers and sellers in Burbank, a lot of residents in Burbank, okay? That's my first thing. My second thing is, I wanted to make sure if you guys know what's happening with your homeowners associations. A lot of homeowners associations are in a very, very bad condition right now because they either don't have reserves or due to raised property taxes, sales taxes, people are not able to pay their HOA dues. And a lot of HOAs are struggling. I want to know, have you ever thought to sit with the HOA presidents and understand what's happening, how city can help them? Maybe there are trust funds that you can allocate some money for them, because the properties, they've been built like 50 plus years ago, and they are in a very, very poor condition. Have you ever seen any of them? Have you ever talked to any of the HOA members or the president? Because this is a real issue. This is a real issue. And whatever happened in Florida, we don't want that to repeat here. If one of the buildings collapses one day because of the poor condition and low funds for maintenance, so that's my second question.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Next up is Mark Scroggs, followed by Cameron Tennyson. Welcome.
I'm going full Ron Bass tonight, getting something out of it. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mark Scroggs. I want to recommend everyone, not just because I wrote it, but there's a bunch of information I've received from different meetings and different groups about that I put in the Burbank Leaders letter to the editor regarding the Parabros merger, as we're calling it. It was posted over the weekend. The letter goes into detail about the merger, the effects it'll have, and deadlines that are coming up. This is not a done deal, no matter what they say in the news. There's lawsuits coming, there's international stuff, you'll see that when you read it. This is far from over. Rob Bonta and about 10 other attorney generals are going to be doing something very soon. Really here, we're going to lose more jobs in production, in TV production especially, and in animation if this goes through. You know, local businesses will go away. There's already some that are starting to in other areas because the productions aren't there, they're not getting the business. And we've seen this before with the strikes and the pandemic. We know what'll happen. This is a rerun. One area that's not been discussed much is about news archives. ABC, NBC, CBS, and CNN have archives for the last 50 years for researchers and documentarians. Documentaries are really going to be affected by all this also. If you want to get footage on, let's say, the OJ trial, for example, you may not be able to find it, or it'll be very expensive because CNN and CBS may just get rid of it all. So there's a lot of information there. This is an uphill battle, which will go on and on and on this summer. Everyone can sign the open letter at www.blockthemerger.com/open letter. The volume of names keeps the story alive. You can sign it even if you're not in the industry. My wife and son have, as a fan or consumer. The entertainment industry is really fragile here right now. People are leaving left and right. I can tell you that. We need to rebuild it and rethink it. We don't need more for sale and for lease signs. So please check out the letter on the leader. And also, if you have time, on deadline.com, there's a really good article yesterday by Dominic Patton regarding all sorts of the legal stuff, all the government stuff that's going on. So that's it for tonight.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Cameron Tennyson, followed by Linda Rossoff. Welcome.
Hello, good evening, City Council. My name is Cameron Tennyson. I've been a Burbank resident since 2019. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm embarrassed with the happenings of what's been going on in City Council lately with members. And then they bully other City Council members about issues that they disagree with politically. They are wasting time chasing pointless censures instead of focusing on important issues like the fact that Burbank is currently being sued by Metro. I'll also mention that when Rosati defended himself with the whole ICE situation, he specifically said the moment he steps out of these doors, he can say whatever he wants and no one can do anything about it. So I ask him, why are you afforded that, but Councilmember Anthony is not afforded that same right? I want to start off by saying that data indicates that 82% of transgender individuals have considered killing themselves throughout their lifetimes. 40% of those people have attempted suicide, with the suicide rates being the highest in transgender individuals under 18 years old. The protests, you have said, and Mullins has said, that Moms for Liberty is not a hate group. They are a hate group. They are listed by the ACLU, by the SCLP, as a hate group right next to the KKK and the Aryan Brotherhood. I don't know your opinions on those two, but if you consider those hate groups, you should probably consider Moms for Liberty a hate group. Their co-founder has specifically said that transgenderism is a social contagion that has taken over our country. There is no such thing as a transgender child. I want to repeat that those things were said by the people who were coming into this Moms for Liberties event. You would too have also talked about some sort of assault that happened, and you have continued to say there was an assault, there was an assault, there was an assault, and you tried to blame Anthony for not doing anything about that assault. There was no assault. It was being investigated, but even then, has anything come out about whether or not the assault actually happened? I was there the entire time. I saw the entire thing. What did happen is that the people from Moms for Liberty, they wanted their social media content. So they came out with their cameras and they shoved their cameras in everyone's face. They called them child mutilators. They called them tranny lovers. They called them all sorts of awful things. In fact, Sonia Shaw live streamed the entire event, and she called me a creep for standing there with a sign that says trans rights or human rights. Moms for Liberty is a hate group, and I request that Mullins and Rosati apologize to both Anthony and Van Gorder for their content.
Thank you. Next up is Linda Rossoff, followed by Joe Pimienta. Welcome.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, my name is Linda Rossoff, and I am a longtime Burbank resident and a retired city employee. About 6 weeks ago, I joined a grassroots campaign organized by Dan Kleinman to gather signatures intended to force a recall vote for Councilmember Rosati. While that effort did fall short, I found the experience to be very rewarding. The recall effort introduced me to like-minded and compassionate community members, all working toward a common goal, to recall Chris Rosati. The sad thing is that while some people seek office to serve their community, others, like Mr. Rosati, sought office to serve himself. Based on his words and actions, I have serious concerns regarding Mr. Rosati's ability to fairly represent women, members of the LGBTQ+ community, and people of color. Specifically, what called me to action was the City Council meeting of December 9th, where Chris Rosati showed us exactly who he is, a person who cannot control his anger, a representative who belittles the citizens of Burbank, and someone who cannot or just refuses to show his colleagues basic respect. His behavior at that council meeting was petty and misogynistic, and not worthy of representing the citizens of Burbank. Words and actions matter deeply. Yes, the recall effort fell short. However, the motivation and dedication of the several thousand people who signed the recall petition stand firm. Councilmember Rosati's seat is up in November 2028. We are not done. We will stay focused. We will stay active until we elect a person who truly represents the values of our community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Joe Pimienta, followed by Susan O'Carroll. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff, and everybody present in the chamber. First, I'm going to echo what somebody said. To this day, the Burbank Association of Realtors has not apologized for bringing a hate group to this city. And just 2 weeks ago, Moms for Liberty was here. Gross. And I mean, not to sound cynical or facetious, but I mean, like, it's really interesting to me that Moms for Liberty advocate for parents' rights the same way that Reconstructionists in the South used to argue for states' rights. And meaning, like, once you start getting into asking them actual questions of what they mean by that, they get very dodgy because they don't want to flat out say who they don't want in their community. So that's gross to me. But anyways, that's not what I'm here to talk about today. What I'm here to talk about today, big no surprise, is the actual need for why we need rent control as a measure and as a tool for housing in order to keep our neighbors housed in this city. It's something that, as many people have said, times are tough for everyone, but like you need a tool that makes people save money. Now, some of the counter arguments that we hear a lot is that if there is a stronger rent cap, the owners will not be incentivized or will not be able to do maintenance on these properties. To which I say, what are you talking about? What do you mean if? A lot of these buildings are already dilapidated. A lot of these buildings are already poorly taken care of. A lot of these buildings, you hear people come in here and have said that they deal with mold, that they deal with rats, that they deal with poor maintenance. So I don't really see that as a valid argument to say, well, if this thing were to pass, then we wouldn't be able to do that. On top of that, the other thing that I want to throw in there is that if you actually think about it from this perspective, is that they say, well, you can't put a cap because then we won't be able to do repairs. However, when we do have a big expense and you were to pass that down to the tenants, then that puts the tenant in a situation of, well, what do I consider now? Because suddenly this big increase just showed up out of nowhere, unplanned for. That's also another positioning to put the tenant in a situation of having to consider leaving their housing. So again, it's an argument that I hear a lot and that I do think that it's worth refuting. And more than anything, I also just really want to draw attention that as the rents keep going up, it tends to create an inaccessibility for a lot of people, predominantly working class, lower incomes. You know, I don't want to give examples of professions. I'm a cartoonist, so you can imagine what that sounds like. But my point is that when you have a city that is inaccessible in its housing, you are creating a very specific type of city that I don't think Burbank wants to advocate for. This is a city built by workers. This is a city built by a lot of people that worked in the Lockheed Martin, in the studios, working class people that were living through different ranges of wages. But if the rents keep going up, you can imagine the only type of people that will be able to afford here. And I mean, and you can just look at the statistics of the amount of people that work in this city that cannot afford to live here. So that is the reason why I think that using a strong rent cap is a viable tool in order to prevent that. Again, not the only solution, but a very important one, as well as the building more housing and figuring out other ways and affordable housing and so on. So with that, thank you for your time, thank you for your evening, and I'll continue to see you here.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Susan O'Carroll, followed by Diana Pulver. Welcome.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council and staff. I'm here tonight because I would publicly like to thank Assemblyman Schultz for meeting with a group of Burbank and Glendale residents. He spent 30 minutes engaging in a detailed dialogue with us regarding issues with the SB 79, why the nearly $500 million BRT makes no sense as a transit project, how the BRT in combination with SB 79 will result in significant impacts and costs to Burbank, and about the dangers of SB 1361. We explored possible strategies to deal with these issues. He indicated that he would be exploring possible amendments to 1361 to address some of our concerns, and that after the first of the year would be more able to explore legislative ways to address the terrible impacts that SB 79 will have on a number of cities in California. We were very much appreciative of his time and attention. I am grateful when public servants such as yourselves and Assemblyman Schultz are willing to sit down for a detailed discussion of key problems. I urge Council to hold strong and continue to oppose dedicated lanes in Burbank and to require the preparation of a subsequent or supplemental EIR to identify and address the numerous significant impacts that will flow from the BRT in combination with SB 79. I consider SB 79 to be a declaration of war against the middle class, designed to rob us of the neighborhoods that caused us to choose Burbank as our home. As noted in the city's analysis, 13,755 of the city's residential units, or 28.6%, are within the area that will be impacted by the BRT and SB 79. Please continue to stand up for Burbank. Submit your letter opposing SB 1361 through the state portal so that it becomes part of the record. Please schedule meetings with our elected officials to address these key issues. State-level officials need to gain a real-world understanding of the problems that will be created by SB 79. I'd also like to note we heard a really excellent presentation from the Housing Trust tonight, and look what they're accomplishing with a comparatively low budget. Compare that to $429 million, nearly $500 million for a bus. Think what we could get for that money in terms of first-time homeowner loans or actual affordable housing production compared to a bus that's going to get way lower ridership than Metro projects and is slower than the existing line. It makes no sense. That money could be better spent actually serving people who could use it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Diana Pulver, followed by Cameron Hunter. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. My name is Diana Pulver. I'm a housing provider and a lifelong Burbanker. With the prospect of a strong El Nino this winter and rising inflation, I'm trying to do what I can to prepare my units for a wet winter. In order to extend the life of the driveway, I will need to recoat it. The price of asphalt this year has gone up by 5% and is expected to go higher. Despite this, I'm going ahead with the recoat because I know that if I don't, it will only cost more to repair in the future. Keeping my rents under market is important to me, and expenses like these affect my bottom line. If rent control were in place, I would not be able to do this. The building would fall into disrepair, and the quality of life for the renters would suffer. Quality of life is an important part of Burbank. It's what makes Burbank special. So please, do not LA my Burbank. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Cameron Hunter, followed by Harry Temurian. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, council members, for allowing me to speak today. My name is Cameron Hunter. I am the Burbank Association of Realtors president. Since you've so graciously brought so much public attention to the Burbank Association of Realtors recently, we thought it would be a great opportunity to let you know and let the public know what we do for our community and even how you can help. Just this past week in the Burbank Association of Realtors Community Foundation awarded $12,500 in scholarships to 9 outstanding students here in Burbank. That's effort and particularly meaningful to me, as when I first joined the Burbank Association of Realtors many years ago, I volunteered to read all the local students' applications, essays about their hopes and achievements and dreams. It was truly an impactful experience, not just learning more about the students of our wonderful BUSD schools, but also seeing the difference our organization can make. And that's only one example of what we do. Throughout the years, you'll find us building bikes for Bike Angels, creating teacher gardens at our local elementary schools so educators can have a place to recharge, and donating thousands of dollars to the Kids Community Dental Clinic and Home Again LA. Additionally, we routinely have planned fun outings, including casino nights, Dodger events, and everything in between. We've spent decades investing into this community and supporting all Burbankers. And every single realtor who participates in these events does so as a volunteer. We take time away from our families, our businesses, and our personal lives because we believe in giving back to the community we call home. Our next community event is our second annual community 5K run, Thursday, July 16th, beginning at 5 p.m. And we'd love to have everyone join us. The money made from this event will be used for next year's scholarships. And not to brag, but I came in dead last year, so I'm gonna hold that one tight, all right? I think it would be great for all of you to come see what true community leadership looks like. We'd love to have you all there. Everyone is welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Harry Tamurian, followed by Daniel Kay. Welcome.
Good evening. I'm not going to be as nice as my president. Everything he said last week was a lie, an absolute lie. He sat there and he lied through his teeth, and you let him get away with it. I'm the guy that he called. I'm the guy that he tried to strong arm and stop those people from being in there. The conversation didn't start with, hey, Harry, listen, I'm worried about the association. The conversation was, hey, dude, those people don't belong in Burbank. Those people should not be here. And when I went back to him and I said, we've got a contractual obligation, I have no idea who these people that you're referring are, he attempted to strong arm, a sitting council member attempted to strong arm a business into stopping an event. And when I said no, and I told him it's not going to happen, he attempted to bring in the police chief to back up his false and fake claims about some form of a bomb threat occurring and this and that. I spoke to the police chief twice, and the police chief reiterated to me, unless he had a specific time, place, when those calls, this came in, there's no substantiation of any of that. And you let him get away with it, just like you let him get away with everything that he does. You said that you're not his mom. You're not his mom, absolutely. But at some point, you got to tell him enough is enough. He is out of control, attempting to strong arm a business into not doing something, pressuring him. That's when I decided, you know what, I got to start taking this into a text message. That's why we were not here. He wailed his arms. Where are they? Where are they? Because my board just thought, hold on, there's enough leadership up on that dais to go ahead and realize what this guy did. So they said, Harry, we're not going to stand there. We're not going to go over there. We're not going to justify it. And you let him get away with it. That's what happened. He lied through his teeth. And when my family members, because those members of my association and those individuals that work in that office are my family members, when they were accosted by your followers, your people that support you, women of color that work in that organization, did any of you guys pick up the phone and call them and make sure they were okay? You sat there at home, you're like, I'm so infuriated that this happened with these people, that they came and they did that. Women of color, 2 Hispanic and 1 African-American lady work in that office. The words that were said to them, the emails from your followers, your people, that you allowed to happen. He did this, and you let him get away with it. Yeah, censuring him was nothing, except it was everything. And you followed on that ball.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Daniel Kay, followed by Mike Stage. That's my last card. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Dan, and I helped lead the campaign to recall Chris Rosati for his bigoted, xenophobic, inappropriate behavior at City Council. In order to get the recall question onto the November ballot, we needed over 10,000 signatures by the first week of this month. Any later would have triggered a special election costing the city millions, an unfair burden given the city's tight budget. The campaign distributed 250 signature sheets to many dozens of volunteers who collected 2,000 to 3,000 signatures, far short of what was needed. This campaign was endorsed by the Burbank Democratic Club and California Working Families Party and was fully volunteer-run with no outside money. This community came together and ran a true grassroots campaign. I'm so proud of what everyone accomplished, including scaring Rosati enough into showing up at our canvassing events, screaming at us, and trying to steal campaign materials, and his further emotional outbursts at City Council, reminding us why he's unfit to lead and unfit to represent us. This campaign is a glimpse into what the community can accomplish when you come together to fight for a shared vision of a better world. The recall effort is over, but the work is just beginning. There's 3 city council seats on the ballot this November, and Rosati's seat will be up for re-election in November 2028. Voting is a good start, but to bring about real change, you need to get involved and put in work. This was an incredible learning experience and monumental community effort. It's not always about the city council members you try to recall, but the friends you make along the way. I appreciate and am inspired by all of you. Keep City Council on notice, keep active, and keep organizing, and let's defeat Rosati in 2028. Also, shame on Rosati, and shame on the Burbank Association of Realtors for hosting a hate group. Hate has no place in Burbank. Pass the BRT dedicated bus lane, stop wasting time and taxpayer money. And finally, I want to thank staff. It took a few months. I brought up the Burbank Channel bike path that was under construction and closed for a while, but that got fixed. So thank you for taking care of our cycling infrastructure.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Mike Stage, and that's my last card. Welcome.
Thank you. My name's Mike Stage, and I'm here to say, get the flock out of Burbank. It has been way too long, and it needs to be done now, today, this second, because it's growing bigger and more dangerous. I cannot imagine that we can allow the flock to listen in, spy on, and follow us wherever we go. Langley, the pea-brain in charge of flock, wants to increase it more and more and more, and we do not need it. And all of this is going to go into a database, and I don't care what you say, I don't care what the police say or anybody else says, that will be accessed. If you think it won't, you are incredibly naive. Flock is out there, ICE is out there, the Gestapo is out there, and when the time comes, now the Gestapo's not bright, I'll grant you that, but they've already grabbed 2 people here in Burbank, and they will be grabbing others. And when they finally get it through their thick skulls that they can actually use some of the $60 billion that our government, the gang in Washington, has given them, they're going to buy their way in. And yeah, someone will give into it. They can't help it. Sooner or later, it's going to happen. And when it does, it's going to hit the fan. Everybody, our immigrant brothers and sisters, our families, the people guarding them, the rest of us out there, everything is going to be open to everybody. And we are going to be paying the price for it constantly. You can't stop it, but you can pull the plug. Cancel the damn contract. I know there are procedures, things that have to be done. Do it. And if you can't do it today, do it tomorrow. Hammer away at it. Make damn sure that it is pulled. And we are safe here in Burbank because there is no other way to do it. We have to get flock out of Burbank. We have to stop being spied on, and we have to get our freedom back. There is no other way to go about this. And then we can tell Langley and his friends, all his tech bros, you'll notice they're all guys, by the way, that they need to pull the plug. And we can tell them they can take flock and their spy machines and shove it right up their corporate assets. Get the flock out of Burbank now. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. That was my last in-person public comment card. Do we have callers on the line?
Yes, we have 4 callers.
Okay, please put them through.
The first speaker is Emily Gable-Luddy.
Welcome. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Could you put the first slide up, please? Good evening, Mayor and Council. This issue came to my attention after the recent chemical fire in Garden Grove. As you know, more than 40,000 residents were evacuated because hazardous materials were stored at an aerospace industrial site near their homes. It raises an important question. Should housing be located next to industrial sites? 2814 West Empire, the new affordable home project with 144 homes for low-income residents, was approved in 2022. Next to it, PPG Aerospace, an industrial facility that also manufactures aerospace products. I don't know what's made here, but the building has a warning sign on it. Could you go to the next slide, please? On the screen is the hazard warning placard displayed on the building. This sign is used by firefighters and other first responders to quickly identify dangerous materials. The blue section shows a health hazard rating of 4, which means exposure to the materials at this building could be deadly. The white section contains a W with a line through it, which means water should not be used in an emergency response. Burbank has a long history of aerospace manufacturing, including its own Superfund site and ongoing environmental monitoring. This month, the LA County released maps showing industrial facilities, toxic release sites, and other environmental hazards throughout our community. Bills like SB 79 and 1361 strip the city's ability to appropriately locate housing to avoid potential public health and safety impacts that could arise from these kinds of locations. My question is simple. What are the city's next steps to address these land use concerns? Residents can look this information up themselves, but is that enough? Should we be doing more to ensure transparency and protect people next to and near these industrial uses? Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next caller, please.
The next speaker is anonymous.
Welcome. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. There's been little transparency from Flock, City Council, or PD of intent to the public of the contract with Flock Safety. There wasn't a public vote, and PD used the vague term of asset forfeiture funds, which originated as Build Back Better funds to pay for surveillance equipment, including Flock and drones. This is the second surveillance company in 2 years. What a waste of resources meant for residents. Burbank residents overwhelmingly want all surveillance contracts canceled and banned with no substitutions or replacement of another company. Flock rents their equipment, then sells surveillance access to public entity police, and that structure intentionally muddles the contract and who is legally responsible. Peter Thiel's Palantir owns and runs the AI used to sort Flock safety data. The same Palantir that has U.S. military contracts and uses drones equipped with AI in Gaza bombings of schools. The California Consumer Privacy Act and its amendment, the California Privacy Rights Act, classify biometric information as sensitive personal information, meaning businesses like Flock must provide notice at collection, allow consumers to opt out of the sale or sharing of this data, and maintain reasonable security procedures. The CCPA and CPRA framework generally relies on enforcement by the California Attorney General rather than a broad private right of action for biometric violations. So specific statutory damages and awards do apply for local data breaches. Lastly, how many car chases have occurred in Burbank in the past 10 years? I couldn't find evidence of one. A reminder that CHP handles car chases on our freeways, not local PD. So don't police state our Burbank. Happy Pride and land back.
Thank you for your comment. Next caller, please.
The next speaker is Kate.
Welcome. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, I'd like to talk about the transit occupancy tax increase in short-term rentals. And I'd ask that council move to agendize short-term rentals and Airbnbs before the November election so people know if they're voting for just a hotel increase in transit occupancy tax or Airbnb. Right now, there's over 1,000 short-term rentals listed on just Airbnb, and while some are ADUs or bedrooms, the majority are apartments or whole single-family homes renting out for less than 30 days. I have a concern that the increase in the transit occupancy tax without stricter enforcement of Airbnb rules will further drive people away from our hotels and into unregulated Airbnbs. I ask that you agendize this before the November election, and please move on it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your call. Next caller, please.
The final caller is Kyle.
Welcome. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Council. I think it's pretty hilarious that Harry Tamurian wants to lecture everybody about the truth while repeating the completely fabricated claim that Burbank Tenants Union buses people into our city. It's a lie, plain and simple, and one that he's created. The tenants of Burbank are Burbank. We are Burbank. We're the animators behind your kids' favorite shows. We're your kids' teachers. We're the artists, service workers, and small business owners, parents, neighbors, and community organizers that make this city incredible. We live here, we work here, and we raise our families here. So when people like Harry Tamurian, speaking on behalf of the Burbank Association of Realtors, pushes this kind of misinformation, it reflects poorly on an organization that claims to be respected leaders in our community. Now, if we're going to play the game of holding public figures responsible for every bad actor that claims to support them, then let's apply that standard consistently. If Constantine is supposedly responsible for disgusting threats against the Association of Realtors, then by that same logic, Councilmember Rosati should be held responsible for the threats his awful praise of ICE inspired against his fellow council members. Of course, I don't believe either standard is fair, but the selective outrage is very hard to ignore. As for Councilmember Rosati, his behavior has been deeply disappointing and unbecoming of somebody elected to represent this city, a city I love. We've seen screaming from the dais, screaming at residents at McCambridge Park, throwing hissy fits when a woman might get the last word, standing alongside hate groups, and cursing at people on the steps of City Hall. It's been embarrassing, divisive, and far beneath the standards Burbank residents should expect from their electeds. That's why I'm grateful that so many community members have come together to make it clear, on the public record, that thousands of residents reject this kind of conduct and reject Christopher Rosati. And while we're discussing public accountability, I'd also once again like to ask this council to end the flock contract and provide the public with a full accounting of any autonomous policing technology currently being considered or deployed in the city, including drones or other surveillance systems. Residents deserve transparency before these technologies become further entrenched. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. I believe that was our last phone call. Okay. All right, we have completed, hold on one second. There being no further public comment, I now declare the joint general public comment period closed. Now is the time for a brief response from City Council, City Manager, City Attorney. City Manager, City Attorney, do you have anything? No? All right, so Council, we'd like to go first. Councilmember Anthony.
First, I wanted to address the Cabrini issue. Oh, I think she already left. Well, just for the public's aware, Cabrini is technically in Los Angeles, so the city of Burbank can't actually do anything. However, a few individuals in their individual capacity have been working with the city of LA to do something. I would encourage the woman who spoke up earlier or anybody else interested, reach out to me on social media. I can get you in contact with those individuals who are working on that. Mr. Bax, I'm sorry to hear about your father-in-law. I apologize for that. That is hard to go through. And on that note, I would be remiss in pointing out that many individuals who live and work in this city for many years were involved in aerospace technology. In fact, a handful of individuals here in Burbank had come from Boeing and previously worked on the B-52 bomber Stratofortress. And yesterday at Edwards Air Force Base in a routine test, 8 crew members were lost. And I just, Kern County is very close. It's right above the LA County border. And there are families in the area that are grieving that loss. And so my heart goes out to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Who would like to go next? Councilmember Rosati.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just congrats to the folks doing the Pride event in the park. I ran many events. I know how difficult it is, so I commend you on getting this off the ground every year, and I look forward to being at that event. Regarding the speaker about the HOAs, I would concur. You know, a lot of our housing stock, especially the condos that were built in the 80s, you're starting to see a lot of wear and tear. rising costs, insurance costs is killing them, minimum wage increases if they have a security, outside security. And a lot of people in those residences and homes are seniors. So I do understand there's a tough financial pain going on, and maybe as a council we can look at that. I know we fund a lot of other situations, but maybe we look at seniors who are struggling paying their HOA dues. Ms. Gabaletti, former mayor, I would agree. I mean, housing, we definitely need to take control of where our housing goes and make sure that it's in safe locations. Industrial, commercial, it gets a little tricky depending on what's adjacent. So I would concur with your thoughts. And then lastly, there's several of you have not been here in a while. I just want to say welcome back. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember?
Just want to thank everybody for coming down tonight and sharing your public comments. I do want to address folks specifically who came to speak about ongoing agenda items, Mr. Bax, Ms. O'Carroll, Ms. Pulver, and Joe Pimienta. Thank you for talking about housing. I know that's a continuing item we're talking about here, and I appreciate you all coming down every time and speaking to an item that is solid and tangible in front of this council. And I want to thank Mr. Mr. Scroggs. I'm sorry, I was about to call you Mr. Mark. Mr. Scroggs for coming down every time and talking about the merger. I took the time to read your writing, and I will be going onto the website and taking a look. I think it's important for all of us to stay up to date on what's happening with the merger and up to date on what the state is doing to really look at this, because one of our biggest concerns is what happens to the jobs and the livelihoods of the people that live here and the people that depend on this industry. So thank you for looking at that, and thank you for looking at a myriad of other state legislative bills that impact the industry, both intentionally and unintentionally. Thank you for doing all that. I really appreciate your work there. Finally, just thank you everybody for coming and speaking your thoughts about the community. At the end of the day, we're all Burbank residents, and I appreciate you coming down to speak and be heard. Oh, and of course, happy Pride.
That's right, happy Pride. Thank you. As always, thank you for coming out and spending your evening with us. I know you have a lot of things in your life, and you chose to spend time with us tonight, so thank you for coming here and sharing your thoughts and concerns and questions. Those who called from home, thank you for calling in. Just a few things. Let's see. First of all, Mr. Bax, sorry for your loss. And also, I wanted to ask staff, both Mr. Bax and then another commenter also mentioned, I think it was Mr. Pimienta, mentioned about issues with their housing, either not being taken care of or the tenants not reporting the repairs. Are those things that the Housing Enforcement Unit can address if there's an issue? Or the Landlord-Tenant Commission, yeah.
Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, Patrick Prescott, Community Development Director. I would start with code enforcement, property maintenance stuff, and then if necessary, we can elevate to the Housing Enforcement Unit. And you're going to ask me for that phone number, and I don't have it off the top of my head, but if you go to the city's website and look for code enforcement, it's pretty easy to find. And you can lodge your code enforcement complaint on the city's 311 app on the city website as well.
And that's both directions, right? Both the responsibility of the landlord and the responsibilities of the tenant?
Yes, yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, the landlord's not going to file a complaint about maintenance, right, because it's theirs. I think the issue was being highlighted that there are maintenance concerns that, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
818-238-5225.
There you go. You need to put it like a tattoo.
Thank you, council member.
All the phone numbers tattooed on staff's hands. And then to Mr. Scroggs' comments about the merger, thank you for continuing to follow it. It's like, it feels like every other day there's something new information. Another question to staff. It was mentioned by the speaker, Mr. Scroggs, and I've also seen it in the news that Rob Bonta, our AG, is looking to maybe make a move. Are our city lobbyists keeping an eye on what's going on there? And if something were to happen, would they let us know kind of what's going on?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
As you know, I mean, we also did letters.
Yes.
We did the letter for Netflix, and then we had to pivot to the Paramount. So
Yes.
we are staying on top of that.
Great. So we are getting notified. So if AG Bonta does make a, move forward with it, we'll know, and then we can then act on that as a council. And let's see. Yes, and there was the caller in gave an example of housing that was built right next to industrial. And again, the question to staff. So is this something that we were aware of? Just briefly could comment on that.
Yes,
noticing.
we were very aware of. It
Yeah.
was we lost local control as a result of State Senate Bill 35, and so we're
That's
limited
SB
as far
35.
as the environmental that we can do, and that was the SB 35 project.
Yeah, so it was SB 35 that kept us from being able to. Okay, so many bills to consider. All right, and the last question to staff, this is for our chief, in relation to the flock questions, and I just wanted to follow up to see if we're still on track for updating the website to show all the searches that are going on, or that will be going on, or that are going on, so that the community can see what we're searching for with the flock cameras.
Mayor, council members, staff, Rafael Quintero, Chief of Police. I can't remember the exact date that I had promised. In short, yes, we are still on track. I want to say off the top of my head,
16th.
June 16th or 19th.
Okay.
That information will reside on our transparency portal. The only thing that we are removing is anything that may conflict with our investigations or compromise our investigations.
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate the update. Did you have a follow-up question?
Before you leave, Chief, do you mind giving the URL for the transparency website just so folks know and can take a look? Because I know there's a lot on there.
Just like my partner Patrick, I probably should know that off the top of my head. However, I'll use his same response. If you go to burbankca.gov/police, the transparency drop-down tab, you will be able to select flock, and then within that, select that information.
Thank you, Chief, and I promise I won't ask you to tattoo it anywhere.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. That's all I've got. Thank you again for coming tonight. And if you have a follow-up on anything that we commented on or that we didn't comment on that you'd like to follow up, please reach out and we can have continued discussions. All right. Next up is the consent calendar. The consent calendar may be enacted in one motion. Ms. Assistant City Clerk, Ms. Tai, please read the consent calendar.
Yes, Madam Mayor, the items on the consent calendar are as follows. Approval of the City Council minutes of the joint meeting of June 2nd, 2026, and the dark meeting of June 9th, 2026. Approval of the Housing Authority minutes of the joint meeting of June 2nd, 2026. Adoption of a resolution appropriating $2,300,000 of the Burbank Housing Authority unappropriated fund balance for fiscal year 2025-26 to support housing assistance payments under the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program. Adoption of a resolution approving a cooperative agreement with Express Energy Services, Inc. for the Ralph Foy Park Lighting Upgrade Project. Adoption of a resolution approving contract documents, plans, and specifications authorizing execution of a contract for bid schedule 1534, jail door control system modernization to Ace Construction and Maintenance, Inc., and finding of CEQA exemption 14 CCR section 15302. Adoption of a resolution approving a cooperative agreement with Vincor Construction, Inc. for the Police Department Forensic Services Area Modernization Project. Adoption of a resolution approving an entry and construction agreement with Burbank Empire Center, LLC to construct public sidewalk improvements near Empire Interchange and dispensing with competitive bidding. Adoption of a resolution approving the fiscal year 2026-27 Measure A subrecipient agreement between the Burbank Glendale Pasadena Regional Housing Trust and the City of Burbank to receive Measure A funds and authorize the city manager or his designee to execute the agreement and any future amendments. Approval to dispense with competitive bidding and execute a First Amendment to the professional services agreement with All Animals Veterinary Care and Consulting to increase total compensation for veterinary services for the Burbank Animal Shelter. Approval of a multi-year reimbursement agreement with Boys and Girls Club for the drop-in middle school program, and acceptance of an additional $87,500 for the Los Angeles County Aging and Disabilities Department funding for the contracted elderly nutrition program and related amendment of the fiscal year 2025-26 adopted budget.
Great, thank you. Before we make a motion to approve the consent calendar, I don't want to pull anything, but I was wondering if we could get a quick summary of item 7 briefly, and I have one quick question about that one.
Good evening, Mayor Takahashi, members of the City Council, David Kriske with the Community Development Department. So yes, item 7 concerns City Council considering to adopt a resolution to enter into an entry and construction agreement with Burbank Empire Center LLC, who own the Empire Center, to construct public improvements near the Empire Center and to dispense with competitive bidding. When the Empire Interchange was completed a few years ago, there were several areas where the project damaged city infrastructure throughout the city. One of those areas was the area between Empire and the new interchange and the Empire Center. If you ever go to the Starbucks there or the Sharkies and try to dine in the patio, for the last 10 years you have had a construction fence, and so this is one of these unmet needs that were not addressed as part of the freeway project. We've been waiting to finish this work because Caltrans, the city, and the Empire Center were negotiating on how to clean up this area. That's been completed, and now we're asking you to enter into this entry and construction agreement so that the Empire Center and its contractor can construct improvements along that frontage, basically sidewalk access improvements, retaining wall, some lighting, and an pedestrian access into the center itself. The Empire Center's contractor would do this work at the same time they're doing the on-site improvements to restore that patio. And we think that dispensing with competitive bidding makes sense for the city because their contractor is there already. The improvements are all combined together into kind of one larger project, and it just makes sense to have them construct the improvements rather than us coming out separately with a city bidding process and doing it ourselves. So this item would allow that to all occur if the City Council wants to approve that tonight.
Great, thank you for explaining that briefly, that project. And you kind of answered my question, I think, and my one question was in the negotiation or with the discussion in the map that shows the strip, it's a pretty long strip. So in the center, there is a pedestrian crossover or a way that pedestrians can go across into the middle of the project?
Yes, so way back when, before the interchange was there, you used to be able to walk from the corner of Empire and Victory Place into the center, and then that was destroyed. So this will reconstruct that crossing, so if you're a pedestrian on Empire, you'll be able to come straight into the center.
Great.
Or if you're a pedestrian on Empire and want to get to Victory Place, whereas the street would go down, the sidewalk would stay at grade and connect over to Victory Place. And separately, we'll then be doing some landscaping in that remaining dirt area. There's a little bit of funding left to do that, and that'll be a city project that'll be happening in about a year.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Yes, Councilmember Anthony.
I have a quick question on just item number 9.
Oh, thank you.
I wanted to ask, so we're increasing the budget from $100,000 to $250,000, and could you just quickly summarize what's been going on at the shelter, why we've been short-staffed on the veterinary position, and who these folks are to come in?
Yes, good evening, Mayor Takahashi, City Council, Marissa Garcia, Parks and Recreation Director. So the Burbank Animal Shelter, we have a full-time veterinarian position that it's been vacant for a little bit of time, and veterinarians are very difficult to hire. There's a great need for veterinarians both in the public and in the private sector. So to fill that gap, we contracted with a third party to provide some much needed veterinarian services to ensure that we are taking care of our animals at the animal shelter. Because that recruitment took a little bit longer than we anticipated, we have had to use the third party for a lot longer than necessary. I am happy to report that we have hired a veterinarian who will start on July 6th. Her name escapes me right now, but we will have a veterinarian, a full-time veterinarian at the Burbank Animal Shelter beginning in July.
Oh, well, so just to follow up, will that affect our ongoing budget with all animals veterinary care, or are they going to continue to help us with?
They will still continue. We will most likely go back and have a third party provide some as needed veterinarian services. Having one full-time veterinarian for our animal shelter is great, but as you all know, we have many animals and we run that shelter. We take care of the animals 7 days a week. So sometimes there is a need for emergency services that we need some additional support.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Great. Okay, if there's nothing else for clarification, then do I have a motion?
I'll move that, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
Second.
Second. All right. We have a first from Councilmember Rosati, second from Councilmember Perez. Can we get a vote, please?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Anthony.
Abstain on 5 and 6, yes on everything else.
Councilmember Perez.
Yes.
Councilmember Rosati.
Yes.
Noting the absence of Vice Mayor Mullins and Mayor Takahashi.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. This is the time and place for the hearing on the adoption of a resolution to approve the actual action plan and annual action plan for the fiscal year 26-27 Community Development Block Grant. If you wish to comment on this item in person, please present a salmon public hearing card to the city clerk's desk. If you wish to speak over the phone, please call now at 818-238-3335. You will be placed in a queue until the public hearing comment period begins. Before we begin, are there any disclosures relating to this hearing?
No.
No? Okay. Neither. Ms. Tai, have the notices as required by law been given?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay. And do we have the complete file of exhibits, correspondence, including emails and other documents?
Yes, Mayor.
Great. And has the city received any written communications on this matter, and have they been provided to all city council members?
We did not receive any correspondence on this matter.
Great, thank you. Okay, will the representative of the Community Development Department please introduce yourself and summarize the matter for us? Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor Takahashi and members of the City Council. My name is Melania Karejian, Administrative Analyst for the Community Development Department. May I have the presentation, please? Staff is seeking Council's approval of the fiscal year 2026-27 Annual Action Plan for the Community Development Block Grant Program, also known as CDBG. Today's presentation will include an overview of the CDBG program, a summary of the current year programs, and the 2026-27 funding recommendations. The City of Burbank is an entitlement jurisdiction, which means it receives an annual allocation of CDBG funds from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. The primary goal of the CDBG program is to develop viable urban communities through public service programs, capital improvements, and economic opportunities, primarily for the benefit of low and moderate income individuals and families. The City of Burbank receives approximately $1 million in CDBG funds annually. 15% of this is for public service programs, 65% is for capital improvement projects or economic development opportunities, and 20% is for administration. As a recipient of CDBG funds, the city is required to complete a 5-year consolidated plan, which consists of community outreach and engagement to develop the program's priorities over the 5-year timeframe. The priorities that were developed include support and strengthen homeless services, expand and improve affordable housing, and improve quality of life through neighborhood revitalization. An annual action plan is completed for each year within the consolidated plan. The fiscal year 2026-27 annual action plan is the second annual action plan within the current consolidated plan. The purpose of annual action plans is to translate the broader 5-year consolidated plan into a specific 1-year implementation strategy, while considering the program's priorities that were established. Each year, as a part of the annual action plan process, the city issues a request for proposals to solicit funding applications for projects and programs. The applications submitted to the city are then reviewed by the CDBG committee. The committee plays an important role in this process, dedicating significant time assessing applications, evaluating eligibility and community impact, and discussing funding priorities. Before discussing the fiscal year 2026-27 recommendations, I will provide an update on the current year programs. The current year CDBG programs are doing well. All except one are on track to expend their grant funds and meet their program accomplishments. The program that is having a challenging time administrating their program is Fine Arts Revolution. They had difficulty securing a location to operate the program, is struggling to meet program compliance requirements, and is behind on expending funds. Additionally, as a recipient of the fiscal year 2025-26 CDBG capital funds, the Buena Vista Homeless Access Center project is currently underway. Construction began in March 2026 and is expected to be completed by March 2027. When completed, it will serve as Burbank's Home Again LA Access Center, providing 4 tiny homes for families transitioning out of homelessness into a home. Transitioning to the fiscal year 2026-27 CDBG program, the total actual allocation for the CDBG program is approximately $1 million. The allocation includes a public service cap of 15%, totaling approximately $160,000. At least 65% of the allocation is to be spent on capital projects, totaling approximately $694,000. And a cap on administration of 20%, totaling approximately $213,000. Please note these figures are different from the projected grant allocation, which can be seen in attachment 4 of your packet. The CDBG committee based their recommendations off of the projected grant allocation. Grant recommendations were adjusted proportionally once the final grant allocation was received. The difference in the projected allocation and actual allocation was only $3,855. Therefore, the adjustments to recommended grants were minor. A total of 12 service applications were received. Of those, 3 applications were determined to be ineligible and removed from consideration, leaving 9 applications for review by the CDBG committee. After the review process, 7 of the 9 applicants were recommended for funding. The Armenian Relief Society is recommended for $13,000 to assist low-income residents and individuals with limited English proficiency. The Boys and Girls Club of Burbank is recommended for $19,900 to support after-school and summer camp scholarships for youth ages 5 to 18. The Burbank Noon Lions is recommended for $3,000 to provide eye and ear testing and services. Home Again Los Angeles for the Pantry, formerly known as the Burbank Temporary Aid Center, is recommended for $39,900 to continue providing essential services for individuals and families facing hardship. Home Again LA is recommended for $44,771.45 to connect families experiencing homelessness to services through its homeless outreach program. The Family Service Agency is recommended $24,900 to provide therapeutic treatment and supportive services for households enrolled in transitional housing. And the Kids Community Dental Clinic is recommended for $14,900 to provide dental treatment and education services for local youth. The 2 applicants not recommended for funding were Burbank Housing Corporation, because a representative from the organization was not present at the CDBG committee presentations meeting, which is a required part of the application process. Subsequently, the Burbank Housing Corporation withdrew their application and is pursuing other funding sources. Fine Arts Revolution is also not recommended for funding due to challenges experienced during the current program year, including the inability to identify a secure location to operate the program and concerns related to program compliance. The total amount of funding available for capital and economic development projects is approximately $694,000. 4 applications were received for capital or economic development activities, and all are recommended for funding by the CDBG committee. This includes funding for 3 nonprofit organizations, including security improvements at the Family Service Agency facility, construction costs for the Home Again Los Angeles Buena Vista Homeless Access Center, and a roof replacement project for the Kids Community Dental Clinic facility. Each of these projects were recommended for the amount requested. The remainder of funds was committed to the City of Burbank's First-Time Homebuyer Program, which will provide closing cost assistance for low-income first-time homebuyers. As mentioned in the previous slide and aligning with the city's 2025-2029 consolidated plan priority to expand affordable housing opportunities, staff is recommending to operate a first-time homebuyer program. These funds will be leveraged with the CalHome First-Time Homebuyer Program, which you heard about during the Regional Housing Trust presentation earlier in the evening. To summarize, the city will receive approximately $1.2 million in CalHome funds to assist approximately 6 households with first-time homebuyer loans. CDBG funds will be used to leverage these funds by providing up to $50,000 per household for closing cost assistance. The CalHome assistance will be in the form of a loan, and the CDBG assistance will be in the form of a grant. Although this presentation focuses on CDBG funds, Home Investment Partnership Funds, otherwise known as home funds, are also included in the annual action plan. The plan for home funding will be decided once a project has been identified, with staff returning to council for approval. Prior year home funds have been allocated to support the expansion of affordable housing through the development of the Village at Fairview project in partnership with the Burbank Housing Corporation. Staff is requesting council's approval of the fiscal year 2026-27 CDBG funding recommendations and approve the filing of applications and certification for the CDBG and home programs. This concludes my presentation. We will now open it up to questions from City Council. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I'm going to ask if we have public comment.
No in-person or callers, Mayor.
Okay, great. Thank you. There being no public comment, I now declare the public comment period closed. Does council have any questions of staff? Councilmember Rosati.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I had a couple questions regarding the first-time homebuyer program. What is the length of time that is required to stay in the home? Is there do they have to be there for 3 years, 1 year? Could they turn around and sell it?
Thank you for your question. Casey Lee, Housing Development Manager, Community Development Department. So there are 2 first-time homebuyer programs. One is the CalHome program, which you heard about from the Regional Housing Trust. Under that program, they are loans of up to $200,000 per household, and they are required to stay in their home for 30 years. Under the CDBG program, it's more of a supplemental program, and that will cover the cost of closing costs up to $50,000 in the form of a grant. And that program will align with the CalHome program. So the idea is it'll be 30 years as well.
So when you say closing costs, is that also down payment assistance and closing costs?
Just closing costs.
$50,000 of closing costs?
Up to $50,000.
Okay. But closing costs are what? Typically 1%, 2%?
I'm not sure exactly what they are. I could assume that they would vary. We're working with consultants on developing the program guidelines. At this point, they're very preliminary. The trust is completing the program guidelines for CalHome, and we have consulted with a consulting firm to assist with the program guidelines for the CDBG program. So those final guidelines will be worked out over the next couple of months.
And then in either program, Could someone purchase a home and rent it later?
No, they cannot. It has to be their primary residence.
And would we be monitoring that situation?
Yes, we would
Okay.
be.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Great questions. Councilmember Anthony.
So just to follow up, what is the monitoring? Do you go to the house once a year and you like look around and make sure it's their name on the stuff? Like what's...
Right, and they would have to submit a utility bill or possibly 2 utility bills
Okay.
to demonstrate that they are still the primary resident.
What happens if 20 years in, they want to move and sell the house?
They can do that, but there would be penalties and they would have to pay off the loan.
Okay, so they have to finish the loan, but then in addition to paying off the loan, there's penalties on top of that. Is it based on...
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said penalties. The penalty would be that they would have to pay off the loan.
Oh, okay. All right. I guess if... So, is it a lien on the property? Like, how would you guarantee that they paid it off? Like, what's the mechanism for that? It's just part of the contract. Okay. I don't know.
There would be a deed of trust.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, fair enough.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions about the program, Councilmember Perez? Because I have some follow-up questions about the program as well.
Just one. I know this is a first-time home buyer program and assistance. Could somebody theoretically apply for both this assistance and perhaps what the Housing Trust is offering? Are you able to apply for both, or are there restrictions?
Yes, so the primary applicants would be for the Cal Home program, and CDBG would supplement and leverage the Cal Home funds.
Great. Okay, thank you.
So the Cal Home program only has, oh, sorry.
I think you had a follow-up.
Follow-up, go ahead, please.
Just really curious, like, what's the income level we're talking about?
So for the Cal Home program, the income level is 120% AMI, and for CDBG, it's 80%. So if there is a Cal Home household or applicant that qualifies but does not qualify under the CDBG 80% AMI, then the CDBG funds just wouldn't kick in.
And AMI is?
Area median income.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Okay, great. And so the Cal Home program looked like only 2 applicants would be able, from what was it only 2 applicants could get
up
there?
to 6.
Up to 6 for Cal Home, okay, misread
So
that then.
the total budget is 1.2 million,
Got
up to
it.
200,000 per household for a total of up to 6 households.
Wonderful, I'm glad I misread that. And so the 2 programs will be run by different entities. So the Cal Home program will be run by the trust, I imagine. And then this program, who will run this program?
City staff along with our consultant. And that consultant would work hand in hand with the trust on eligibility and underwriting, and city staff would assist with some of the administration.
Great, okay. And then the timing for the home program, what would that be to get started on offering it to the community to apply?
So as Dima, the trust manager, presented earlier, we're going to start marketing in the 3rd quarter of the year and hope to get applicants on board and selected by the end of the year and hopefully into their new homes.
And for both of those programs, the timing's the same, would you say?
Correct.
Okay, so as we're messaging out to the community and sharing with both programs, the marketing will be simultaneous, the marketing will be together?
Yes.
Great, okay. Because it could be a little confusing if it's not together. Great, thank you. And then, one last question. Does it apply for condos purchases as well, or just houses?
I am not sure. I'm assuming both, but I'm not positive.
Okay. I know we don't have a ton of condos in Burbank, but to know whether that's an option is, because sometimes the condos can be a lower cost than a single-family home.
Yes.
So have access to.
Most of our for-sale affordable units have been in what they call common interest developments, which are condominiums or apartment conversions.
Okay, great. All right, that's all the questions I had about that program. Any other questions in general? Okay. I do have one just general question. So the slide that showed the consolidated plan from 2025 to 2029, I think it's slide 3. We're in the second year of a 5-year plan, looks like. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So does that, assuming that we will be receiving CDBG funding for the next 3 years?
We can hope and we can assume, and I have not heard, I have my feelers out, of course. I have not heard that that
don't
funding
jinx it.
would be cut or anything is on the chopping block going forward.
Okay.
That's what I hear, but of course, anything is possible.
I like the optimism. And then when will we know for sure? When will we be like alerted or informed of that has been for the
It's
next year?
Typically annually.
When during the year?
It would be around April or May.
Okay, so we just found out about this round. in
Yes.
August. Okay, got it. Okay, so we have some time to find out till the next one.
Yes.
Okay, keeping my fingers crossed.
Absolutely.
Very tightly, and my toes. All right. Anything else? Okay. Okay, then any would, let's see, I gotta do my. I now declare the public hearing closed and the council will now deliberate. What is the council's pleasure? Any deliberation? No?
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Just
If
one
all
general
good.
comment to the awardees. Well, first of all, congratulations to the awardees, and also that it's always we want to give everybody all the requests, so it's tough to not give 100%. But the CDBG Commission, they work through it, and it's tough to say you can't get 100%. But I'm glad to see that most of them were funded, majority of the amount. So and thank you to the CDBG Commission and to the staff who worked through it.
And to everyone listening, these are federal dollars, so talk to your congressmember, talk to your senator if you want to see these dollars come back to Burbank.
All right, yes.
Ditto to what the mayor said, and I make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2026-27 CDBG funding recommendations and to approve the filing applications and certifications for the CDBG and home programs.
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. Please take the vote.
And also
I missed
to
it.
have the city manager,
manager
designated
designated
official
official, yeah.
execute the
Oh, right,
CDBG
number-
agreements and amendments with the subrecipients.
Nah. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, I include that too.
All right, and the second.
And the second agrees.
Okay, all right, now we have a
As
full
amended.
first and second. Now time for vote.
Thank you. Councilmember Anthony?
Yes.
Councilmember Perez?
Yes.
Councilmember Rosati?
Yes.
Noting the absence of Vice Mayor Mullins and Mayor Takahashi.
Yes,
Thank you.
All right, our second public hearing. This is the time and place for the hearing of the city's adoption of a resolution approving and adopting the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and Water Shortage Contingency Plan. If you wish to comment on this item in person, please present a Salmon public hearing card to the city clerk's desk. If you wish to speak over the phone, please call now at 818-238-3335. You will be placed in a queue until the public hearing comment period begins. Before we begin, are there any council disclosures relating to this hearing?
No.
Okay. And Ms. Ty, have the notices as required by law been given?
Yes.
And do we have the complete file of exhibits and correspondence, including emails and other documents?
Yes.
And will the representative of Burbank Water and Power please introduce yourself and summarize the matter for us?
Mayor, I just want to note for the record, we didn't receive any communication for this one either.
Oh, gosh, thank you. I guess that part was not in here. Thank you, up here. Appreciate that. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Asif Sheikh. I'm the Manager of Water Engineering and Planning with BWP. And tonight I will be presenting the city's 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and Water Shortage Contingency Plan. The Urban Water Management Plan is a state-required planning document that evaluates long-term water supply reliability and is updated every 5 years. The plan evaluates projected water demands, available supplies, and long-term reliability through the year 2050 under various conditions. The update also includes the city's Water Shortage Contingency Plan, which is a required component of the UWMP under California Water Code. As shown on the timeline, Burbank has consistently updated its Urban Water Management Plan since 1985, with the current 2025 update due to the state by July 1, 2026. This chart summarizes projected long-term water demands and the supply portfolio expected to meet those demands. As shown, imported water supply through the Metropolitan Water District remains the largest component of Burbank's water portfolio, supplemented by local groundwater and recycled water. The projections shown here reflect anticipated demand growth associated primarily with future development and housing needs, while also illustrating the importance of maintaining a diversified regional and local supply portfolio. Burbank's urban water management plan relies heavily on regional planning assumptions developed by MWD. MWD's planning documents conclude that Burbank's projected demands can be met through 2050 under normal, single dry, and multiple dry year conditions based on a diversified regional supply portfolio and continued reliability investments. Consistent with that broader regional strategy, Burbank continues evaluating local supply projects and partnerships intended to strengthen long-term reliability and operational resiliency. At the same time, long-term water reliability planning throughout California continues to involve several significant challenges and uncertainties. Some of those challenges include climate variability, pressure on the Colorado River system, constraints affecting the State Water Project and Delta, and the need for continued infrastructure investment. These challenges reinforce the importance of long-term planning, regional coordination, and continued investment in water reliability efforts. In response, Burbank continues evaluating initiatives intended to strengthen long-term supply reliability and resiliency. These initiatives include expansion of recycled water use, evaluation of future direct potable reuse opportunities, participation in regional desalination discussions, exploration of regional water exchange partnerships, and continued groundwater and storage optimization efforts. Collectively, these initiatives are intended to strengthen long-term resiliency and support broader regional water reliability objectives. In addition to long-term supply reliability planning, the Urban Water Management Plan includes a water shortage contingency plan, which is a required component of the UWMP. Burbank has conducted water shortage planning for many years, and the current WSCP continues those efforts using the framework required by California Water Code. The WSCP reflects existing BWP drought response practices and operational experience, and continues the city's long-standing approach to water shortage planning. In summary, based on the planning assumptions evaluated in the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan, Burbank projects that future water demands can continue to be met through 2050. At the same time, long-term water reliability planning throughout California continues to face hydrologic, infrastructure, and regional supply challenges that require ongoing planning and coordination. In response, Burbank continues evaluating local supply projects and partnerships intended to strengthen long-term water supply reliability and resiliency. The 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and Water Shortage Contingency Plan were presented to the BWP Board on June 4th, 2026, and were endorsed for approval and adoption by the City Council. With that, staff is recommending that the City Council adopt a resolution approving and adopting the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and the Water Shortage Contingency Plan, thereby satisfying State Urban Water Management Planning Act requirements while continuing to support long-term water supply reliability planning. And I'm available for any questions if the council has them.
Thank you so much for the presentation. We will now open the public hearing to any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter. Do we have any members of the public?
We did not receive any cards, and we don't appear to have any callers either.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I will now pass it back to the mayor.
There being no public comment, I now declare the public hearing, public comment period closed. Does the council have any questions of staff? Councilmember Anthony?
Thank you for that presentation. The report shows that we're budgeting for full build out in the city.
Correct.
Like the maximum numbers that we've allocated, but theoretically, not everything always gets built.
Correct.
So would you say we're overestimating? We're sort of padding the numbers here. It's a little bit more than what we theoretically could have, but technically we have to do that because that's the number that we're allowed.
Right. So this, you're correct. The plan assumes full build out by 2035, which is an aggressive assumption, but it's a conservative assumption as it relates to water supply reliability planning.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, great. No questions? Okay. And did you have a question? Okay. I may have missed it when I stepped out for a minute to use the restroom. part of the plan, does it include the advanced potable water possibility of having that in the city?
So the projections themselves do not include the potential supply from potable reuse as part of the supply portfolio, but it is mentioned in there as a potential for the future. But because it's in such early planning stages, it can't be relied on as a supply for the forecast.
Is that the same thing is true with desalinization?
Correct. But if you go back to the graph that I showed, any local supply that we can bring online will reduce that reliance on the imported supplies from Metropolitan.
Okay. And then one last question is, we did a receipt of a federal grant for our reservoir a couple
Yes.
days ago. Is that part of the plan as well, and how does that play into our
Well,
water conservation?
thank you for bringing that up, and that goes back to infrastructure investments. You know, one demand management strategy is to prevent water loss, and so as we know, Reservoir 2 is leaking at above the center line, and so this is a great example of us proactively taking a water demand management strategy to replace that reservoir with something that is more robust and less likely to have leakage.
Okay, great, thank you. Those are all the questions I had. Any questions?
I don't have questions. I just want to say thank you so much. Water is something I've been following for a long time from my time at the state, and I do appreciate the plan looking into what's happening with the Delta project, taking that into consideration, taking into consideration the multifaceted issues that are happening in the Colorado River project, and also the other uses that we can have. And I have seen BWP, both in this plan and in practice, look at other ways we can experiment, desalination, et cetera, et cetera. And I really think this is going to be a multifaceted approach. So I appreciate you all including that in there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's any questions, okay, so now declare the public hearing closed, and the council will now deliberate. What is the council's pleasure? Are there any discussion or a motion? Did you have a comment, Councilmember Anthony? No?
You just made fun of me for mentioning I worked at the state.
Oh. Yeah, I wanted to echo Councilmember Perez's comments about thanking you for putting this together. Now, I recognize that this is required to put this together by the state, so you didn't have a choice, but I appreciate your thoroughness, and we've mentioned many times that the city does not have its own water rights, and so this plan is so essential to have, and BWP's on it, so even if the state did not require it, I'm sure 99% of this we would have already. BWP making sure we do have a contingency plan, but I think this I didn't read every page, but a lot of pages, and I think this is a really great document to refer to for folks in the community who might be concerned about water, especially with the developments coming in, especially with infrastructure and how we it's fascinating, yes. It is fascinating, actually. And, I think for many years, power and electrification was kind of the big topic, and now the big topic is water. And water is life, and to be able to make sure that we have a contingency plan and working forward it's absolutely essential. So thank you, and I am in favor of this. So.
I wanted to, just to reiterate what you were saying, if we could pull up slide 3, and we mentioned it earlier about the purchased water, that big blue bar in the middle of slide 3 across the years there, anything, like we mentioned earlier, anything we can do to find new sources of water cuts down on that big chunk, because we pay for that. We literally buy it with our dollars out on the market in real time, and everybody's vying for this water. And so, yeah, to your point, Madam Mayor, every step that we take on this, and Council Member, you've seen this, like you said, for years, these numbers are just getting bigger, and every single thing we can do to cut into that is going to help us out.
Look, folks think that the biggest issue in the state is housing, and I would challenge folks to think the biggest issue is water.
Water, it absolutely is water. I mean, there's a lot of issues going on, but water's huge, and we have a limited supply of it. Like, it is literally a limited supply of fresh water. When I was a kid, I used to vacation on Lake Mead, and I remember seeing pictures of the recent Lake Mead pictures and how low the water is, and you can see the water lines. You couldn't see any water lines when I was a kid when we would do, fishing out there. So we're all trying to get the water, and it's a limited supply, and we can't have to make sure to give the the natural weather system's time to replenish the water and not take as much, so for us to use. And so having these more advanced ways to recycle it, reuse it, desal, reservoir storage, all that is really important to make sure that we're using less and less of it. Yeah, okay. Anyone like to make a motion? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that we adopt a resolution of the Council of the City of Burbank approving and adopting the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and the Water Shortage Contingency Plan.
All right, do you have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a first, Councilmember Anthony, second Rosati. Please take a vote.
Yes, Councilmember Anthony?
Yes.
Councilmember Perez?
Yes.
Councilmember Rosati?
Yes.
Noting the absence of Vice Mayor Mullins and Mayor Takahashi.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, tonight we have 2 reports to council. After staff's presentation, the City Council will proceed with in-person public comment only. Speakers will be allowed to speak on that item at the conclusion of the presentation as long as the speaker did not speak about it during the general public comment. Please be sure to submit your public comment card now, as no additional public comment cards will be accepted once the comment period commences following staff's presentation. The first report to council tonight is the adoption of a resolution calling the placement of a general tax measure on the November 3rd, 2026 general municipal election ballot for the submission to qualified voters of a proposed ordinance amending the city's transient occupancy tax, or TOT, by increasing the maximum rate from 10% to 12%, effective January 1st, 2027. Directing the city attorney to prepare an impartial analysis, and directing the city clerk to set rules and deadlines for arguments and rebuttals for and against the measure. I welcome Mary Hamzoyan, Economic Development Manager, to please present the report. Welcome.
Good evening again, Mayor and council members. Mary Hamzoyan, Community Development Department. May I please have the presentation? I'm here tonight to discuss a proposed amendment to the transient occupancy tax for the city of Burbank. Like many cities across California, Burbank is facing rising costs to provide essential services residents rely on every day. Public safety equipment must be replaced. Facilities and infrastructure require ongoing maintenance, and demand for services continue to grow. The city's long-range financial forecast projects expenditures will continue to outpace revenues through fiscal year 2030-31. The general fund 5-year financial forecast includes a recurring deficit of approximately $2.7 million for fiscal year 26-27, growing to $3.2 million for fiscal year 28-29. The city will continue to face fiscal challenges over the next several years, as expenditures are currently projected to outpace the growth of revenues, resulting in a projected deficit through fiscal year 2030-31. For fiscal year 26-27, the city identified a $4.2 million gap between projected revenues and expenses for the upcoming year that was reduced to $2.7 million through cost-saving measures, such as prioritizing and reducing new funding requests to those that are critical to maintaining operations, implementing a hiring chill, reducing outstanding workers' compensation liability, and investing one-time funds in areas that can generate future recurring savings. Even with those cost-saving measures, the city will continue to operate at a deficit as it has limited tools to generate revenue and must rely on a small number of local resources to fund most services. One tool that can help with the proposed deficit is amending the transient occupancy tax, or commonly referred to as TOT. TOT, often referred to as a hotel or lodging tax, is a local tax imposed on visitors who rent overnight accommodations for short-term stays, typically for 30 consecutive days or less. The tax is collected by hotels, motels, and inns as part of the guest's bill and then remitted to the city. 100% of the revenues received from TOT go directly to the city's general fund. TOT revenues are commonly used to support general municipal services such as public safety, youth programs, senior services, homelessness prevention, and parks and recreation programs. The city of Burbank is widely known as a community that delivers strong public services and maintains a high quality of life. Residents benefit from responsive police and fire protection, paramedic and 911 emergency services, well-maintained parks and public spaces, library services, and programs that support youth, families, and seniors. These services are part of what makes Burbank a desirable place to live, raise a family, and run a business. To continue with Burbank's expectations for services, a TOT measure was determined to be a feasible option to increase revenue for the city's general fund. The proposed measure would increase TOT from 10 to 12%, which would generate approximately $3 million in revenue to help support these public services. The rate would also align Burbank with neighboring cities, as we are currently one of the lowest in TOT rates, which we haven't increased since 1983. Currently, the city's TOT rate is less than several comparable in neighboring jurisdictions, including Pasadena, Glendale, Los Angeles, West Hollywood, and Santa Monica. The tax rate and specific regulations vary by jurisdiction, and some cities and counties apply additional assessments for tourism on convention funding. Cities like Burbank often create a tourism business improvement district, and the TBID, as we refer to it, also collects an assessment on hotel room rentals. But these funds do not go to the general fund and are used to promote tourism and enhance the visitor experience in Burbank. When comparing Burbank to other cities, both assessments must be evaluated as they add to the overall room rates. Referring to this chart, when combining TOT and TBID assessments, Burbank is highly competitive and would remain so even with a TOT rate increase, going from 11.75% to a combined 13.75% with the proposed measure. The proposed resolution calls for a general election and consolidated with the statewide general election on November 3rd. City Council is asked to consider placing the measure on the ballot for the November 3rd election by approving the resolution included in the staff report packet. Should Council elect to place the measure on a ballot, a voter approval of 50 plus 1% is required for the measure to pass. If the measure passes, it would go into effect January 1st, 2027, and an ordinance would be amended in the city's TOT tax, amending the TOT tax from 10 to 12%. If the ballot measure is rejected by voters, the TOT rate would remain 10%. The proposed ballot measure text is allowed at a minimum of 75 words, including the title, and it must be posed as a question and reads as the following. City of Burbank City Service Measure to maintain services including fire, paramedic, police 911 response, prepare for, respond to wildfires, other disasters, prevent property crimes, keep public areas, neighborhoods clean, safe, address homelessness, support youth programs, senior services, other general city services. Shall the measure increasing Burbank's transient occupancy tax paid only by hotel motel guests from 10% to 12%, providing approximately $3 million annually until ended by voters, requiring audits, suspending disclosures, funds used locally be adopted. If the council approves the proposed resolution, there are several steps that will follow. First, the city attorney will provide an impartial analysis on the measure, which is up to a maximum of 500 words. Next, city council is asked to create a subcommittee of the mayor and the vice mayor to prepare an argument in favor of the measure, and if necessary, submit a rebuttal argument up to 300 words. And an individual voter who is eligible to vote on the measure, a bona fide association of citizens, or a combination of both, may also provide an argument in favor or against the measure. Staff will also launch a community outreach campaign, an educational campaign about the measure through a variety of different channels, including meetings with local civic organizations, mailers, social media posts, etc. The cost to add the TOT measure to the November ballot is a one-time cost of $43,520. If voters approve the measure, the city will receive a reoccurring amount of approximately $3 million in general fund revenue, which will help offset the deficit as projected in the city's fiscal year 26-27 budget. Staff is not requesting additional funding for the ballot measure at this time, since the request for funding was already submitted by the city clerk's office and approved by council during the budget process. To conclude, staff recommends that the City Council approve the following. Adopt a resolution of the Council of the City of Burbank calling for the placement of a general tax measure on the November 3rd, 2026 general municipal election ballot for the submission to election ballot for the submission to qualified voters of a proposed ordinance amending the city's transient occupancy tax by increasing the maximum rate from 10% to 12% effective January 1, 2027. Direct the city attorney to prepare an impartial analysis. direct the city clerk to set rules and deadlines for arguments and rebuttals for and against the measure, and authorize the city council to create an ad hoc subcommittee consisting of the mayor and vice mayor to prepare an argument in favor of the measure, and if necessary, submit a rebuttal argument. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available to answer questions as well as staff from city attorney's office and city clerk's office.
Great. Thank you for the presentation. We do have one public comment card, so we'll do that one public comment and then we'll come back to the questions. My one public comment card is Arno Dionysian, and you have 3 minutes. Welcome.
Good evening, Council. I'll try to keep this quick because I know you got a very interesting tax here to discuss. My name is Arno Dionysian. I'm a resident here in Burbank, and I'm someone who's not an expert in budgeting or accounting or anything staff has prepared for us here today. I want to simply ask for maybe a layman's description of what the TOT was. That was my idea when I submitted my comment card. Since then, staff has presented a very clear presentation of what the transit occupancy tax is, and I want to thank them for that. And I want to add simply as someone who was the first, there's me, who's had the first impression of the TOT just a moment ago now and the proposed increase in the ballot. As someone who has no other experience in it except that just a moment ago, it seems like staff has done their time and their research to propose a very financially sound proposal to council. As members of council know, it's going to be a difficult few years for municipal governments across the country. For reasons that are beyond the city of Burbank's lobbying capabilities, there are going to be fewer dollars coming down for the things we want to spend on. Burbank is going to need to be more conservative in the way we spend our dollars and how we raise those dollars. We're going to need to, in order to maintain the quality of life that Burbank residents expect, Burbank will need to fund our infrastructure goals more independently and look to new funding sources to maintain the quality of life people move here for. To that effect, just from what I noticed a moment ago, it seems Burbank will maintain our competitive advantage in the TOT, and I would strongly recommend council take a look at adding this to the ballot to maintain the quality of life people here expect. It seems like a financially sound option, and as a humble economics student, that's all I'd offer. Thank you, council.
Thank you for your comment. Any responses from staff, public comment, or, okay. All right, council, do you have any questions for staff on this item? Councilmember Perez.
Thank you so much for the presentation. It was very thorough, like our commenter mentioned. The one question I have, and I think it's kind of like the obvious question, have we received any questions, comments, dialogue, or even opposition from the folks that would be impacted by a TOT increase?
Thank you for the question, Councilmember Perez. Not to my knowledge, we have not received any feedback or comments, no.
I think that's helpful to know. And Madam Mayor, that is my only question. I have to step away. It's time. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? If I'm doing my math right, just a quick math computation, it looks like that would be, if we were to put this on the ballot and it were to pass, that it would be roughly $2 more per $100 spent at the hotels per room per night. So, for example, if a room was $100 a night, it would be, let's see, hold on, let's do my math here. 2%, thank you. Yeah, I know, 2% of that $100 would be had it in my head before, $20. And then, let's see.
So based on, if it's $100 for the night, you pay currently an additional $10 for TOT. And what we're asking to do is, instead of $10, $12.
$12, right. So that's, my math was right.
Yeah.
You understood what I was trying to say. So it's $2 extra per $100 that would be going up. So for most folks, my guess is it probably wouldn't be much. Well, I don't know. It depends on who's
I
staying
mean,
at
even
the
a really
hotel.
nice room is like $150, so it's $3.
$3 more a night. Yeah. Okay. All right. And I think that might be worthwhile too to consider if we vote on this and we decide to move forward, to put that in, maybe the information might be worthwhile. Yeah, that's the only question I had.
No
Anything
questions.
else? No questions? Okay, then any comments, deliberation, thoughts? Okay, would someone like to make a motion? Okay.
Do you have a question? You want to read the long motion? No. Okay.
whole
Adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of Burbank calling for the placement of the general tax measure on the November 3rd, 2026 general election, municipal election ballot for the submission to qualified voters of the proposed ordinance amending the city's transit occupancy tax by increasing the maximum rate from 10% to 12% effective January 1, 2027, directing the city attorney to prepare an impartial analysis and directing the city clerk to set the rules and deadlines for arguments and rebuttals for or against the measure, and authorize the city council to create an ad hoc committee consisting of the mayor and vice mayor to prepare arguments in favor of the measure and, if necessary, submit a rebuttal argument.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Yes.
If I could just, before you vote, I just wanted to let you know, I did speak with the vice mayor the other day. She read the report. She's very, while she's not here to vote, she's very supportive of and willing to participate on an ad hoc subcommittee with the mayor. So I just wanted to make sure that, I know you guys are headed that way, but
Right.
she is
So we
supportive of that.
Don't voluntold her on something without her knowledge. Okay.
Just as a quick discussion, one of the member public came up and stated clearly didn't know what this was, saw very brief information about this. I think staff put together a very concise understanding of what it was, and he got it. So I think this is going to be well received and well understood by the public.
And considering we haven't raised it since 1983, I mean, if you put that in the wording alone, I think it could be helpful.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So we have a first and a second. Can we get a vote, please?
Absolutely. Councilmember Anthony?
Yes.
Noting the absence of Councilmember Perez, Councilmember Rosati?
Yeah.
Noting the absence of Vice Mayor Mullins, Mayor Takahashi?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. All right, our second and last report to council tonight is a consideration of the Art and Public Places Committee recommendation to not excuse the absences of a committee member. I welcome Assistant City Clerk Linda Tai to please present the report.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Mayor Takahashi, members of the City Council, Linda Tai, Assistant City Clerk. I will be presenting reports to Council item number 2, consideration of the Art and Public Places Committee recommendation to not excuse the absences of committee member. Committee member Monica Karam was appointed to the Art and Public Places Committee by Council on October 15th, 2024, to serve a term ending on July 31st, 2026. According to the attendance report, committee member Karam missed the following 3 meetings of September 8th, 2025, January 5th, 2026, and March 2nd, 2026. At the June 1st Art and Public Places Committee meeting, the committee reviewed member Karam's attendance record. Committee member Karam attended the meeting and made remarks regarding the unavoidable circumstances surrounding her absences. After discussion, the committee recommended that the council not excuse the absences as stated in the letter from Chair Olson. After consideration, council may excuse the absences, remove the member, or take any other appropriate action deemed necessary by council. Please be advised, committee member Karam's term expires July 31st, 2026, and she has applied to be considered for reappointment to the Art and Public Places Committee for a full 4-year term ending July 31st, 2030. I also note that we have Parks and Recreation Director Marissa Garcia with us, and Ms. Karam is in the audience as well. At this time, I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Thank you for the presentation. We do have one public comment card. Monica Karam, please, you're welcome, and you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Monica Karam, and I am here to share the reasons why I missed all those meetings. The first meeting that I missed was back in September, and I sent an email to Diana letting her know that I wasn't going to be available for that meeting because I was sick with COVID. And then at the end of October, I got a stroke. And it was very overwhelming to me and my family, and that was the reason that I missed all those, following the following 2 meetings. And I got my heart surgery in March, and I am fully recovered now, and I am ready to serve if you allow me and you consider me. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. Okay. All right, we have now completed public comment for this report to council. Any questions, council members? Councilmember Rosati.
So didn't we give our clerk the decision-making power to handle this without us after the 3 strikes?
I think 4. 3 comes to us, 4 it's automatic.
Yeah.
I think that was the difference.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, for me, this is difficult only because I think we set a precedent in the past. And when does the term end again?
It'll be ending July 31st of this year, so about another month or so.
I just let it ride, and then we make a decision when we get new applicants. I understand that you had COVID, and I understand you may have had a stroke, and I think we set precedent in the past, and I think we should abide by that. That's my position.
Okay.
And I'm fine with that too. What I would like to encourage folks, if for whatever reason, you can't make it, I think there's become sort of an I don't know what to call it, but it's like a guilt of not serving because they've been appointed. If you're not healthy, if you need some time off, you can contact and resign, right? You have the freedom to do that. It's not a paid position. Nobody's going to blame you. And for me, if an individual is out there and knows that they can't make it to future meetings, there's no shame in stepping back and saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to step down, fill my spot. I will reapply in July. And so I'm not sure if this is exactly the case that would apply to, but I would strongly encourage commission members, people serving on these boards. The city's not going to fall apart if you resign. Like, if you have to take care of yourself, take care of yourself. Don't feel the need to hold on to this seat. There are other people willing to serve, and we encourage you to come back at the end of the term and reapply again. So I mean, yeah, it's at the end. So I don't know what removing her at this point would do anyways. But please, and not just for yourself, but anybody, if you're having a hard time, take care of yourself. It's fine. You can resign. We can fill the seat. It's not a problem. So.
I do have a quick question. Is there another meeting of the Art and Public Places Committee before July 31st?
Good evening, Mayor Takahashi and council members. Marissa Garcia with Parks and Recreation. Just want to clarify, Art and Public Places Committee is an on-call group that meets generally if there's a business to be discussed. They do, however, have decided to meet the first Monday of each month. I believe there is, at this point, I think there is plans to meet in July, not the first week because it's a holiday, but I don't know for certain. We won't really know for the next couple of weeks if there will be a project that needs to go before the board. So it's a potentially yes, and I believe we do try to meet, and we'll have a meeting in July.
Yeah, I did notice that on the staff report that a number of the meetings were dark.
Correct.
So those are meetings that are on the calendar, they're planned, and the committee members they have it on their calendar, and then they're told as you get closer to the meeting, that that's not going to happen?
Correct. So as you all may know, when you have, 7 individuals and you have to convene a meeting, it's difficult when it's an on-call. So to make things easier for staff and for the members that are appointed to this committee, they decide at the beginning of the year, they are going to schedule or have set schedule for monthly meetings if necessary.
Okay, great. And then I have one more question for the Assistant City Clerk. I agree with my colleagues that we're so close to the end of the year to let it ride, but I am curious if we were to decide to not excuse the absences and then the commissioner reapplied for the next term, would everything get reset, or how does it work? So how does it work? Should she reapply anyway, or would she not be allowed to apply, or?
As far as I understand it, nothing prohibits her from reapplying. So that was just something that was brought to council's attention for your consideration.
Okay. So technically,
yeah.
there would be nothing stopping her from reapplying if, okay. And then if we were, it sounds like we are leaning in the direction of allowing the absences and moving forward normally. Would then the clock reset for the 3 absences in her new term, or would it be the 4th absence would carry over to the next year?
I'm not sure if the city attorney would agree, but I think this is up to council's discretion. It's a relatively new rule, and it's funny because that was for her old term, and she has a completely new term, so it's, I think, up to council's discretion.
I agree.
Yeah, I would reset, because the next meeting, if there's a meeting in July, and if she doesn't make it, that would still be in this old term.
Right.
So it would
So the
reset if
clock
she
would
gets
reset.
reappointed.
Got it. Okay. So keeping that in mind. Okay. Yeah, I think that it makes sense this late in the cycle to go ahead and excuse the absences, and there's one more meeting, and to attend the meeting. Hopefully you can make it to the last meeting. If you were not to make it to the last meeting, committee member, then technically you would then be dropped from the commission, but then there's no more meetings left, so it's kind of doesn't really apply. And you can reapply, but that will be taken into consideration in your reapplication. And this, to be honest, may also be consider in your reapplication next year as well. So I do recommend, even though it looks like we are probably going to excuse the absence, to be ready to, when you're speaking with us, to be ready to speak to that for the next term of if you're going to, how that's going to be remedied in the next time around.
And Madam Mayor, if I could, I don't know if Ms. Krim has seen the letter from the chair in the Art and Public Places Committee. Your colleagues voted unanimously to recommend removing you, and the basis was a lack of communication, not necessarily the absences, but the fact that your colleagues were not aware of your condition, didn't know. And that's fine, but please understand that in about a month, we're going to be looking at resumes of other folks applying for that position as well. Thank you.
So appreciate your time that you have served on the committee, and unfortunately, this is how the rules work, and I'm sorry about your health challenges to hear about those. Yeah, these are, we really do ask that folks who commit to the committees that they attend, so. Okay, motion?
I just want to say, I know it's uncomfortable to come here under these circumstances, and I just wanted to say I appreciate you coming and speaking and disclosing, and I from my heart, I appreciate that. I understand it's probably been a difficult time for you.
Okay.
I'll move to note and file.
Well, we have to excuse or not.
You want to excuse the absence.
Right.
Oh, sorry, I'll move to excuse the absence of Commission Member Karam.
And I'll second that.
Okay, can we, for the first and a second, can we get a vote, please?
Okay, Councilmember Anthony?
Yes.
Noting the absence of Councilmember Perez, Councilmember Rosati?
Yes.
Noting the absence of Vice Mayor Mullins and Mayor Takahashi.
Yes, thank you. All right, we have finished our presentations to council, and now we're moving on to hear council comments, including reporting on council committee assignments, attendance at conferences, regional meetings, and community events. Who would like to go first? Councilmember Rosati. Floor is
All
yours.
right, you got 15 minutes, 20 minutes? Wednesday, June 3rd, I went to the 10-year anniversary of the Burbank Housing Corporation Veterans Bungalow, and I don't know if anyone else went, but those bungalows looked every bit as good today than they did 10 years ago. So kudos for Burbank Housing Corporation for keeping and maintaining that building in today's environment. And then the same day, I went to the BTAC board members and delivered proclamations to the board that is now morphing into Home Again in LA. And thank you for all your years of service there. When I said should be absorbed is the right word. And then on Tuesday the 9th, I went to the ribbon cutting for the Melt in downtown Burbank, and there were a lot of excited people there. When I got there, there was already a line of people wanting T-shirts, and Prescott was there for his hamburger, and other staff. No, I'm just kidding. But it was fun to see how many people were excited about the Melt coming back. It was in downtown Burbank for a while. They retooled and came back. I met with a member of the community that same day at 4 o'clock. And then on Thursday 11th, I went to the 50th year celebration for Junk for Joy on Magnolia Boulevard in Burbank in Magnolia Park. And boy, what a walk down memory lane that was. There's some cool stuff in that shop. If you're going to a 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, maybe even 90s party, that's the place to go. And then later I had a Parks and Recreation board meeting to attend. And then Friday the 12th, I went to the Home Again LA Gala, which was a lot of fun. A lot of people from neighboring communities were there. It was great to talk to other departments and police departments, fire departments from around the area. And then Saturday the 13th, I stopped by the Civitan Jamboree Day. Boy, just... You know, as a kid participating in that, in the Hat Minor baseball program, which became Little League, it's always a joy to see that parade and all the kids. And then later that night, I went to the Circle block party celebrating their 1 year in Burbank, and congratulations to all those folks. And Sunday the 14th, I went to the Road Kings car show. A lot of fun, a lot of people, a lot of food. They really do a great job. They raise a lot of money. They give a lot of money out to the community. So I commend them. And there was just so many amazing cars. If you're a car guy, you're in heaven when you go to that event. And then on Tuesday the 16th, today, I attended the Burbank Fire Department Academy. There were 6 recruits that were graduated today, and I knew one of the recruits' father, who I went to grammar school, junior high, and high school, and his son graduated. So it's really great to connect. And then for 3 o'clock today, with the mayor, we met with a member of the community. So it was a busy couple of weeks.
Lots going on. Councilmember Anthony, would you like to go next?
Yes, I would. Okay, we had a domestic violence task force on the 3rd. It was an update from PD's office and the city attorney's office on both the enforcement and prosecution of various domestic violence and sexual assault crimes, and that was enlightening for a lot of people in the room. Many folks didn't know the specifics of how that worked its way through the legal system. I attended a surprise presentation by the Parks Department to our Power Soccer athletes on June 7th. They were given FIFA World Cup tickets. That was incredible. Some of the kids actually teared up. It was very cool, and the families were all there, and everyone loved it, and it was a total surprise. They had no idea, so that was really awesome. I followed that up with a ribbon cutting for the Carsi Lavash grand opening for the bakery right on Glen Oaks The
I
balloons
saw
are
you
still up
dancing in
front.
that thing too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
It was rocking.
We did. We had the party out there. It was fun. I went to the Civitan Jamboree Day. That was fun. All the kids were there. And I saw the mayor yesterday at a press conference with Congressmember Friedman at Burbank Water and Power. We got some money to help fix the crack in the container of water. Interesting stuff, and good for our budget. So thank you, Congressmember Friedman.
Thank you. Yeah, these have been a really packed couple of weeks. So many things going on. Let's see. On Wednesday, June 3rd, I had a meeting with representative from Nick Schultz's office, and then later that day went to the Burbank Housing Corporation's Veterans Bungalow celebration. I totally agree with you that they look fantastic. Fantastic. BHC does a great job. And then June 4th, I attended the Cal Cities Community Services Policy Committee meeting that I'm the chair of. It's my last one. So this is the end of my chairship for that. And then June 6th, I attended the Burbank Community Garden mural celebration and potluck. I don't know if y'all know, but there is a mural at each of our 2 community gardens. And local artists painted the mural, so the artist was there, and we celebrated her and the mural. So that's great, bringing art and sustainability and nature together. On June 9th, I took a tour of a company called Krennic Threads, and it's over on near the airport on Ontario Street. It is a thread distribution company. So as a fiber artist, I went there and took a tour of the business.
Of course you did.
And all their spools of thread and yarn and stuff. It was pretty awesome. I nerded out with all the fiber. And then on June 10th, I met with representatives from Unite Here Local 11 about the Media District Specific Plan. And on the 11th, I attended the Burbank Cultural Arts Commission meeting in the morning. On Saturday, the 13th, went to the Civitan Jamboree Day with y'all, and that is always a fun time. It's kind of warm. It's always warm. It's like even if it's cool the days before, that you wake up that day and it's nice and warm. The sun always shines on Civitan. And then later that day, I also went to the Circle Burbank and presented a certificate of congratulations for their 1-year anniversary. On Sunday the 14th, I attended the Armenian Community Center's Eagle Scout ceremony for 2 of their Eagle Scouts. The 2nd and the 3rd girl Eagle Scouts getting an award in their program.
Huge achievement.
Yes, it is a huge achievement. It's always a joy listening to all the work that goes into the Eagle Scout Awards. It's not just the Eagle Scout, but everything leading up to it, and the pride of the families and all the folks supporting them. It's really great. And then also before I left for that, I watched the FIFA game between Japan and the Netherlands. I wasn't able to watch the whole game, so I had to go to that presentation. Turns out we tied, so Japan will be playing again in a couple days. Just saying. They're in it to win it. And then the 15th, the next day, that was yesterday, at the press conference for Congresswoman Friedman's grant for helping us repair the reservoir. And then later that afternoon, I went over to the Burbank Music Center, just down the street here on San Fernando, near the old IKEA, and took a tour. It is an awesome facility, and I was just really impressed. They were very excited. Music nerds, it's always great to be around nerds, people who love their craft. Just hear them talk about it. It was great. And then this morning, I attended National League of Cities Human Development Committee. And then you and I met with a community member. And that's my list. And there's not a lot happening this weekend because it's Father's Day. Thank goodness, because this last weekend I felt like everything happened. So
Got to honor the fathers all weekend.
Thank you to the community for not scheduling any galas or events on Father's Day. I really appreciate that. Give us a minute. All right, now's the time for introduction of additional agenda items. Do members of council have any items to introduce? Yes, Councilmember Anthony.
I'd like to request a letter similar to recent Cal Cities letter, of opposition to the proposed statewide ballot initiative 25-000681 that threatens local government revenues and cuts to local services, and to encourage our governor to work with the legislature to seek a negotiated legislative resolution to remedy the inconsistencies of transfer taxes across the state.
Okay. You got it? Great. Okay. Any other, Councilmember Rosati?
I would like to see if we could put on a future agenda to ask our Senator Menjivar and Assemblymember Schultz to maybe come and state their position and comments on the SB 79 and SB 1361, if that's a possibility.
That's got it? Okay. Anything else? I don't have anything. Believe it or not. Okay. All right, we are, look at this, it's not even 9. Oh my gosh, wow.
Can I make one comment? I just wanted to let everyone know that the Cultural Market is having their kickoff on Friday. So if you can make it out there, it's right behind City Hall. They've worked really hard over the past 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks. And just a big shout out to our staff for guiding them and we finally get them up and running. So just wanted to say that.
Yeah, it's a good Father's Day activity.
Yes, ma'am.
On Sunday and Friday and Saturday. All right, so we're going to come to the end of our meeting now. We now adjourn the meeting in memory of Doug Remington to Tuesday, June 30th, 2026, for a regular meeting in the Council Chamber, 275 East Olive Avenue, 2nd floor. Thank you and good night and happy Pride, everyone.